Pokémon, I became a Pikachu. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 126 Mu Chen's Plans. Let's congratulate the winner of this match, Pikachu. At this moment, not only the entire audience erupted in cheers, but even the host had lost his previous composure. Pikachu versus Machamp, and it was pure melee combat without the use of special attacks. Anyone would have thought that Pikachu was just cannon fodder for laughs. Reaching the top 8 was already a miracle for Pikachu. But unexpectedly, today, all the audience witnessed another miracle unfold before their eyes. This Pikachu actually defeated Machamp. Relying on constantly adjusting its position and harassing it with Iron Tail, after being hit by Seismic Toss once, Mu Chen never let Machamp touch a hair on its head again. With an absolute speed advantage, Mu Chen thoroughly implemented the classic guerrilla tactics of advancing when the enemy advances, harassing when the enemy camps, attacking when the enemy is tired, and pursuing when the enemy retreats. Finally, under Mu Chen's constant harassment and attacks, Machamp's proudly strong physique could not hold on any longer. With a mournful, desperate roar, Machamp collapsed onto the stage where fighting-type Pokémon shone. Having successfully defeated Machamp, Mu Chen was also exhausted and collapsed to the ground. Damn! This guy is incredibly resilient. This was Mu Chen's only assessment of Machamp. To defeat Machamp, Mu Chen used Quick Attack dozens of times to redirect his attacks, and Iron Tail dozens of times to constantly wear it down. Finally, the big guy fell. Mu Chen didn't know how much longer he could have lasted if it hadn't collapsed. Thankfully, it had held on. Ha ha ha. Pikachu. Great. Great. We won. We're in the semifinals. After the host announced Pikachu's victory, Ash excitedly rushed into the arena, lifting the collapsed Mu Chen high into the air, celebrating their victory. Pika, damn. If I weren't so exhausted, I'd give you a good electric shock. The things Mu Chen hates most: first, being hugged by Ash. Second, being hugged by a sweaty Ash. Damn it. You're all sweaty and squeaky in the stands, what are you doing hugging me? Ash. Put Pikachu down, it's tired. Seeing Ash still tossing Pikachu around in celebration, Misty, who arrived later, felt sorry for him. This careless guy, didn't you notice Pikachu was exhausted? Huh? Haha. No way. Pikachu isn't that delicate. Didn't you see how brave it was before? Clearly, the incredibly oblivious Ash hadn't noticed Mu Chen's current state. This guy was completely immersed in Mu Chen's previous spectacular match. You really are something. Alright. Hurry up and draw lots for tomorrow's matches. Seeing that Ash hadn't even noticed Pikachu's condition, Misty angrily snatched the eye-rolling Pikachu from Ash's hands. Earlier, when Misty came to rescue him, Mu Chen was filled with anticipation and hope. However, with Ash's idiotic refusal, the flame of hope that had just ignited in Mu Chen's heart was instantly extinguished. Just as Mu Chen was about to unleash his potential and use the last of his strength to deliver a shock to this idiot, Misty successfully rescued it from Ash's clutches. Pikachu, Misty. Well done. I didn't spoil you for nothing. With this last thought, Mu Chen fell into deep sleep. He was simply too tired. With Pikachu gone, Ash lost his object of celebration and had no choice but to do as Misty had said and draw lots for the semi-final group. Because all the matches in the P1 fighting tournament before the semifinals were held in different arenas, I could have drawn lots to determine the next group after Mu Chen's group finished their battles. There was no way around it. Mu Chen's group had the longest and most intense fighting. Of course, Mu Chen was completely unaware of all this. At this moment, Mu Chen was already in a state of rest and recuperation. Of course, this wasn't for tomorrow's match. What? Pikachu, you want to sleep with me? Night fell, and the opportunity Mu Chen had been waiting for finally arrived. After a few gestures, Xiaoxia, the clever girl, understood Mu Chen's meaning. Pikachu wanted to sleep with Xiaoxia. Pika, that's right, honey, you guessed right. Seeing that Xiaoxia understood his intention, Mu Chen naturally nodded repeatedly. No. No. Absolutely not. If it were in the wild, with Xiao nearby, Pikachu wouldn't dare to make any moves. But if the two of them were alone in a room, just thinking about that night at the temple fair, Xiao knew she absolutely couldn't accept it. Xiaoxia's objection was something Mu Chen had already anticipated. Therefore, this little rascal decisively began the cute and charming tactics he had planned during the day. Well, it's settled then. Tonight you'll just get a good rest. I'll just give you a massage to help you recover your energy. If you little brat, dare to do anything, don't blame me for never talking to you again. Finally, after Mu Chen's round of cute and charming tactics, Xiaoxia softened. She couldn't help it, she had seen firsthand how hard Pikachu had worked during the day. Thinking about how he had been completely exhausted and collapsed on the ground during the day, Xiaoxia didn't think this little rascal would have any energy left to cause her trouble at night. Pikachu, hooray! Hearing that a request had been agreed to, Mu Chen was so excited he almost jumped for joy. As for this little girl's threats? HMPH. When hasn't she threatened me? In the end, it all just fizzled out, didn't it? The longer Mu Chen spent with Xiaoxia, the more he understood her personality. This little girl was completely soft-hearted, a little coaxing and everything would be fine. What? You're sleeping with Pikachu tonight? Okay then, I was just thinking of giving Pikachu extra training tonight. Xiao, of course, didn't notice the subtle interaction between Mu Chen and Xiaoxia. When he learned of their decision from Xiaoxia, he didn't think much of it. Anyway, this wasn't the first time for Xiao. He was used to it. At worst, he wouldn't have to train extra tonight. Xiao was still full of confidence in Pikachu. Even without extra training, winning the P1 fighting championship wouldn't be difficult. This was Xiao's unwavering, mysterious confidence. Chapter 127 The Final Four begins. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers from all walks of life, the P1 fighting tournament will hold 2 matches today to determine the Final Four, and then the champion will be decided. Now, let's cheer for the Final Four. The P1 fighting tournament arena erupted in cheers from the host. Ha ha ha. Pikachu, good morning. Looks like you're excited for today too. Let's cheer together and win today's championship. It wasn't just the spectators on the sidelines who were excited for today's final. As one of the contestants, Ash was naturally the most excited. When he saw Pikachu with bloodshot eyes that morning, he naturally assumed that the guy must have been exhausted from the final and hadn't slept all night. Of course, Ash thought this because he himself was just as excited and hadn't slept all night. Pikachu, what the hell? Excited? I was so excited I didn't sleep a wink all night. You idiot, how can you think like that? Hearing Xiao's idiotic words, Mu Chen genuinely wanted to rush over and give him a shock to improve his pathetic IQ and EQ. Similarly, not only Mu Chen felt this way, but Xiaoxia, who was holding him, also deeply agreed. This idiot Xiao sometimes truly made one worry about his intelligence. You see, last night, Xiaoxia and Mu Chen had been locked in a standoff for half the night. These two weren't just excited with bloodshot eyes. In the first half of the night, Mu Chen was relatively well behaved. After all, Xiaoxia was quite wary. To lull her into a false sense of security, Mu Chen obediently lay down, enjoying Xiaoxia's massage. However, in the latter half of the night, after Xiaoxia fell into deep sleep, Mu Chen became restless. Although this time, unlike at the temple fair, Xiaoxia's attire didn't give Mu Chen a particularly easy opportunity to take advantage, that didn't stop him. With Mu Chen's patience, his little hands finally breached Xiaoxia's fortress. Just as he was about to take further action, Mu Chen found a pair of bright eyes staring at him with fury. Clearly, Xiaoxia, the clever girl, hadn't really fallen asleep. Because Mu Chen had a history of this, Xiaoxia was well prepared. And sure enough, he fell for it. Caught red-handed, what else could he say? Bang! Rubbing his backside, Mu Chen was kicked out the door by the enraged Xiaoxia. Fortunately, just as Mu Chen was about to endure the cold wind outside all night, Xiaoxia's door opened again. After all, she was a kind girl. Although annoyed by Mu Chen's despicable attempt to take advantage, Xiaoxia's anger dissipated after kicking him away. Considering the inhumane earthball attack he had suffered during the day, Xiaoxia ultimately softened and pulled him back. However, the events of that night at the temple fair repeated themselves. Mu Chen and Xiaoxia once again stared at each other blankly all night. Of course, all of this was a secret between the two of them, and Ash would never have the chance to know. Pikachu, perk up, it's our turn. Just as Mu Chen was dozing off in Misty's arms, Ash's passionate voice rang out again. As the first team to compete today, it was time for Mu Chen to go into battle. Pikachu, damn. How do you have so much energy every day? Looking at Ash, whose eyes were also bloodshot but whose spirit was incredibly high, Mu Chen couldn't deny being envious. If only I had your boundless energy. Ladies and gentlemen, the first P1 fighting tournament semi-final is about to begin. Let's give a warm round of applause to our two participating Pokémon. Pikachu. Its opponent is the Pokémon known for its super strong defense, Golem. Indeed, just as Ash said, Mu Chen's match was about to begin. Pikachu, come on. Come on. Hurry up and finish this so I can get some sleep. Mu Chen was quite pleased to be able to compete in the first match. At least he'd have plenty of time to catch up on sleep afterward. Gurgle, just as Mu Chen waved his little arms as he stepped onto the stage, his opponent, Golem, also trudged heavily onto the dueling ring. Looking at the tiny creature opposite him, Golem stomped its feet excitedly. This luck was incredible. Not to mention this fighting tournament where special attacks weren't allowed, even normally, Golem, a ground rock type Pokémon, was a natural counter to Pikachu, an electric mouse. That's why, when Golem discovered that its opponent was such a little thing that it was so naturally countered, it immediately adopted a victor's stance, enjoying the cheers from the audience. Pikachu, holy crap. Did this big rock forget its brain? What is it doing? The match hasn't even started yet. Watching Longiant stomp his feet and spread his arms to accept the cheers, Mu Chen couldn't understand it at all. The match hadn't even started yet, and he was already acting like a victor? No way. He absolutely couldn't let his spirits falter. Seeing Longiant's swaggering posture, Mu Chen decisively leaped to a pillar in the corner of the arena. Pikachu, what's so interesting about Longiant stomping his feet like that? Watch me perform a set of legendary turtle-like punches. As a seasoned otaku, Mu Chen naturally didn't know anything about those legendary, godlike martial arts or ancient martial arts. Therefore, his choice was to deliver a dazzling set of turtle-like punches. At least project some momentum. Ha ha ha. What's that Pikachu doing? Hilarious. Is Pikachu planning to box against Golem later? No way. I'm betting on Golem to win this match. Pikachu is no match for Golem. Unfortunately, while Mu Chen's desire to perform was strong, the audience clearly had no appreciation for his act. After a flurry of punches that left Mu Chen drenched in sweat, he was only met with a chorus of laughter. Pika, you bunch of idiots, just wait and see me beat this stupid rock. His performance art went unappreciated, and Mu Chen felt deeply hurt. Did everyone favor Golem? If I don't beat this stupid rock today, I'll change my surname to its. Chapter 128 Roll on. Gurgle. As soon as the host announced the start of the match, Golem let out a furious roar. It couldn't help it, before the match, this yellow-skinned rat had been constantly provoking it. The stubborn Golem was already seething with rage. After waiting for so long, the host finally finished his rambling and announced the start of the match. How could Golem possibly hold back any longer? Pikachu, facing the charging Golem, Mu Chen was completely unafraid. Compared to the Machamp he faced yesterday, Mu Chen actually felt that this Golem was easier to deal with. At least, its type wasn't as awkward as his opponent's. Golem's rock-round typing meant that Mu Chen could deal significant damage with either Steel-type Iron Tail or Fighting-type Rollout. It was precisely because of this that Mu Chen was full of confidence in defeating Golem. However, Mu Chen had clearly forgotten that Golem's type was also super effective against him. Bang! Utilizing his high-speed movement, Mu Chen, using the counter-attack, darted to the side of Golem and delivered a powerful Iron Tail strike to the giant. Gurgle, Pikachu, the Iron Tail attack ended, followed by two cries of pain. Golem cried out because the Steel-type weakness of Iron Tail had indeed hurt it. As for Mu Chen? Holy crap! That's so hard. My tail. It hurts like hell. Yes, after that Iron Tail strike, Mu Chen's own tail was also stinging. Golem wasn't Machamp. Machamp was all muscle. Mu Chen wouldn't even feel a joint. Golem? HMPH, I'm made of rock. Mu Chen used his Iron Tail to lash out at Golem, Feeling exactly like striking a rock with his own tail, the sensation was excruciating. Grumble. After a cry of pain, Golem decisively retaliated. Its already short arms tightened around its body, and even its short legs were mostly tucked inside. Then, Golem, now a ball, unleashed a powerful rolling bomb attack on Mu Chen. Boom! A deafening roar echoed across the entire arena as Golem rolled. Pikachu, holy crap! A human bomb? Was it really necessary to be so ruthless? Seeing Golem's stance, Mu Chen was immediately shocked. He thought, what the hell? With my small frame, if this rock thing crushed me, wouldn't I be flattened into a pancake? Considering Golem's terrifying weight, coupled with the attack's inherent damage, Mu Chen had absolutely no interest in testing the creature's power. Screw you, who cares about anyone? I'm out of here. Faced with an opponent he couldn't defeat, Mu Chen decisively turned around, used quick attack, and instantly disappeared from his spot. Gurgle, Pikachu fled, while Golem gained even more momentum. You see, rollout isn't a one-time use move that's over after it's used. This move can be used continuously. Moreover, as the rolling time and distance increase, its power will continuously increase. Rumble. Rumble. After Golem used its massive weight to launch rollout, a huge roar echoed throughout the arena. Ash. This won't do. Pikachu won't last long. The space in the arena is limited, and even if Pikachu keeps using quick attack to reposition, it will eventually be crushed by Golem's rollout. Watching Pikachu narrowly dodge Golem's attacks several times, Zyoox's pretty face was filled with tension. It's okay. Zyoox, trust me, Pikachu can handle this little thing. Ash was also extremely nervous at this moment. But unlike Zyoox, he had full confidence in Pikachu and his Pokémon. Pika, of course. Mu Chen was unaware of Ash's inexplicable confidence at this moment. Otherwise, this guy would definitely rush off the stage to give Ash a shock to bring him to his senses. You believe me? If you're so confident, try it yourself. Feeling the huge roar behind him, feeling the stage trembling from Golem's rolling, Mu Chen was already in a state of extreme agitation. Damn it! Aren't you dizzy? How long has it been rolling? At this moment, Mu Chen's only wish was for Golem to stop its rolling attack and have a proper positional battle with him. However, what he didn't know was that this guy's complaint had come true. Gurgle. Finally, after a long while, the rolling skill was unilaterally stopped by Golem. There was no way to stop it. Golem was already in a dizzying state due to the continuous rolling. Pikachu, holy crap. I'm a master of language. Seeing Golem in this state, how could Mu Chen not know that this was his time to counterattack? Stupid rock, just keep performing your drunken boxing, I'm not going to hold back. With this rare opportunity, Mu Chen certainly wouldn't be polite in the slightest. He rushed forward, using a flash of lightning to teleport, and instantly appeared behind Golem. Bang! 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 The continuous sound of blows came from Golem's rocky body. Although Mu Chen himself was in excruciating pain from whipping Golem with his iron tail, for victory, to shut up those who mocked him, and to complete the system mission, Mu Chen entered a desperate state. Gurgle. Gurgle. After being whipped around, Golem was finally freed from its dizzying state. But it was too late. Pikachu, you despicable cat, you stupid rock, I'll spin you one more time. A flurry of iron tail lashes left Mu Chen's tail red and swollen. Realizing that iron tail alone couldn't take down Golem, Mu Chen decisively changed tactics. With its short arms outstretched, Mu Chen affectionately hugged Golem's strong leg. Then, the Hell Roll move was activated. Without the move, Mu Chen couldn't possibly move the 300-kilogram Golem. But, with the move's enhancement, this Pikachu, only 40 centimeters tall and weighing just 6 kilograms, rolled along with the Golem. Oh my god, how is this possible? No. I bet on Golem to win. Seeing this, the spectators on the sidelines erupted in uproar. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 I Just Want to Hug You. Pikachu. That's awesome. I knew you could do it. Under Pikachu's Hell Roll, the already dizzy Golem finally passed out completely. Seeing Pikachu defeat the powerful opponent just as he had hoped, Ash was naturally overjoyed and rushed onto the arena to celebrate. Pikachu, You fucking put me down. There are so many people here, I'm being lenient, don't force me to use my electric shock. At this moment, Mu Chen's tail was burning with pain, and his body was also in unbearable pain from the side effects of Hell Roll. And then Ash, that idiot, actually tossed it high into the air again to celebrate. Could he tolerate it? Ash, put Pikachu down. Can't you see how many wounds it has? Just as Mu Chen was about to unleash his electric shock, Misty rushed up. Pikachu, no. Holy crap. I can't stop myself. The electric shock move had already been activated, and Mu Chen really wasn't going to take it back. By the time he realized that Zioxia had snatched him from Zhi's grasp, it was already too late. Zzzzz. A gentle electric shock rang out from Mu Chen's cheeks. Immediately afterward, Zioxia's scream echoed across the arena. Pikachu, Pikachu, Zioxia. My dear. I swear to God, this was truly an accident. Looking at Zioxia, who had been knocked to the ground by his electric shock, Mu Chen's face was filled with helplessness. Who would have thought that you little girl would act so quickly? Huh? What's going on? Ha ha ha. Zioxia, how did you get shocked by Pikachu too? See, I told you, Pikachu must be very excited now. Next time we're celebrating our victory, don't come and bother us. Seeing Zioxia knocked to the ground by Pikachu's electric shock, Zhi laughed heartlessly. Clearly, in this guy's mind, Pikachu was angry because Zioxia interrupted their celebration. Ash, Zioxia, knocked to the ground, nearly fainted from anger upon hearing Ash's carefree nonsense. Pikachu, Zioxia wasn't in the mood to talk to Ash, but Mu Chen was. Damn it. I'm already so frustrated, and you're adding fuel to the fire? No doubt, here comes the electric shock. Sizzle, another crackling sound of electricity flashed, and Ash gloriously followed in Zioxia's footsteps. Pikachu, you stay here and take care of Zioxia, I'm going to watch the match. After being knocked out by Pikachu, Ash, relying on his superhuman physique, quickly recovered from the shock. Carrying the paralyzed Zioxia back to the inn in town, Ash told Mu Chen and quickly left. There was no way around it, the second semi-final match was about to begin, and as a battle maniac, how could Ash possibly miss such an intense competition? Pikachu, after Ash left, Mu Chen looked apologetically at Misty, who was still convulsing. This was truly an accident. It's alright, Pikachu, I know you didn't mean to shock me. It was just that I picked you up too suddenly, you don't need to feel guilty. Looking at Pikachu's little expression, how could Misty not know that the little guy felt guilty? Luckily, he used a weak move like electric shock. If it had been Thunderbolt, Misty couldn't even imagine. Pikachu, wow. This is what a woman is like. Seeing Misty's understanding nature, Mu Chen almost shed tears of emotion. Both of them are trainers who lead Pokémon on their journeys. How come the difference in their character is so great? Compared to that idiot Ash, Mu Chen felt that Misty was so intelligent and gentle. No, it tickles. Moved, Mu Chen naturally stuck out his little tongue and licked Misty's cheek. Of course, this wasn't to take advantage of her. Mu Chen's actions were merely an expression of his close relationship with Zioxia. However, when he realized that Zioxia could only express her resistance through sounds but couldn't move her body, Mu Chen's thoughts gradually changed. Damn. This seems like an opportunity. Although it might seem like kicking someone when they're down, with such a beautiful girl lying motionless in front of him, Mu Chen thought, even if his aunt could tolerate it, he couldn't. Finally, after a struggle with his conscience, Mu Chen's not-so-strong willpower succumbed to the sly little devil in his mind. Of course, even so, Mu Chen wouldn't actually do anything excessive. After all, doing so would truly break the girl's heart. Mu Chen still loved Zioxia very much, how could he possibly hurt her? Therefore, Mu Chen's choice was naturally to take advantage of the situation and climb onto Zioxia, stretching out his short arms to hug her tightly. Pikachu! You little rascal! Get off me! Zioxia, of course, was fully aware of Mu Chen's actions. Seeing this little rascal taking advantage of her, Zioxia was nearly driven mad with anger. Of course, it was only anger and embarrassment. After all, this little rascal hadn't done anything outrageous. Even her clothes hadn't been moved an inch by Mu Chen. It was precisely because of this that Zioxia scolded him in anger and embarrassment. Otherwise, Pikachu, ignoring Zioxia's scolding, Mu Chen remained firmly nestled against her chest. Zioxia. You used to be the one holding me. Don't you know, I freaking want to hold you too. This was Mu Chen's true inner monologue at that moment. Of course, Xiaoxia was unaware of all this. So, seeing that Pikachu had ignored her scolding, Xiaoxia exploded. She didn't know where the immense strength came from, but Xiaoxia instantly recovered from her paralysis. Snap, a crisp sound rang out. Still immersed in the feeling of embracing Xiaoxia, Mu Chen's body uncontrollably rose into the air, making intimate contact with the wall of the room. You little rascal. You little rascal. You little rascal. Xiaoxia wasn't satisfied with just throwing Pikachu away. Pika, holy crap. No way. I need to explain myself. Seeing Xiaoxia like an enraged leopard, large beads of sweat immediately appeared on Mu Chen's forehead. After a series of gestures and shouts, Xiaoxia's anger was finally calmed down. You mean you just wanted to hug me? Finally, Xiaoxia understood what Mu Chen meant. Looking at the earnest Pikachu nodding repeatedly, Xiaoxia's heart trembled. Yes, this little guy really didn't do anything to me before, he was just holding me tightly. Chapter 130 Finals, Opponent, a Barrow. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers. The highly anticipated P1 fighting tournament, after 2 days of competition, has finally reached its championship battle. Let's cheer loudly for both sides. After a morning of rest, Mu Chen, fully recovered and brimming with fighting spirit, arrived at the arena with Xiao Zhi. At this moment, Mu Chen's eyes blazed with fierce determination. For Xiaoxia, I must win this match. The misunderstanding with Xiaoxia had been cleared up, and the little girl was instantly melted by Mu Chen's adorable appearance. Because of their confrontation last night, both Pikachu and Xiaoxia were severely sleep-deprived. So, after the misunderstanding was resolved, the adorable Xiaoxia took the initiative to hug Pikachu for the first time, falling asleep with it in her arms. At this moment, Mu Chen was happy. Without any unnecessary small movements, simply enjoying Xiaoxia's warm embrace, Mu Chen felt as if he possessed the whole world. This was the first woman besides his mother in his life to sleep in his arms. As for melodic, although Mu Chen gritted his teeth and did it under the system's pressure, the feeling was absolutely different. Mu Chen's soul, in the end, was still that of a loser who had been shut-in for 20 years. After a good night's sleep, Mu Chen woke up refreshed and full of energy. Especially when he saw Xiaoxia smile at him sleepily and say those encouraging words, Mu Chen was filled with boundless fighting spirit. No one can stop me today, I'm taking the championship. Alright, now let's welcome the contestants. They are Pikachu, small in size but possessing unparalleled fighting spirit. The other is the powerful fighting type Pokémon, the excellent fighting master, Hitmonchan. Finally, after the cheers of the audience subsided, the host announced the invitation for the 2 contestants to enter the arena. Pikachu, go for it. We must win this match. Along the way, the championship trophy was already in front of Xiao Zhi, who was naturally extremely excited. Pikachu, of course. Whether it's a system mission or for Xiaoxia's sake, Mu Chen is determined to win this match. Chaha, Mu Chen's opponent is the same Hitmonlee they encountered before the tournament. Now, the Hitmonlee leaping onto the ring is constantly swinging its fists, showing off its powerful fighting skills. Pikachu, damn it. I'm not afraid of muscle-bound fighters like Machamp or Golem, why would I be afraid of a skinny little chicken like you? Judging an opponent's strength by their size is a common human failing. Now, based on Hitmonlee's slender physique, Mu Chen concludes that this guy's strength is absolutely terrible. Reaching this point is pure luck. Of course, Mu Chen was unaware of the same assessment his opponent was giving him. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers, let's cheer for our 2 contestants once again. Now, I declare the P1 fighting tournament finals officially open. After the cheers reached their peak, the host finally announced the start of the match. Pikachu, damn it. If they hadn't announced the start, I would have been exhausted. Hearing the host announce the start of the match, Mu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. To maintain his momentum, Mu Chen had been exchanging all sorts of wild punches with Hitmonlee from a distance. After this exchange, forgetting about warming up, Mu Chen was already drenched in sweat. Chaha, similarly, Hitmonlee, Mu Chen's opponent, also felt the impact. Although this guy trained regularly, even a fighting-type Pokémon like Hitmonlee couldn't withstand this barrage of punches and kicks. Upon hearing the announcer declare the start of the match, Hitmonlee didn't even wait for Pikachu to react before unleashing a long-prepared, rapid punch. Pikachu, holy crap. What the hell? Mu Chen's original plan was to activate high-speed movement at the start, using the small-armed, small-legged Hitmonlee as a cover. But he hadn't expected this guy's punch speed to be so fast. In fact, it was fast enough to use punch speed to propel his body forward. How could Mu Chen know that this was one of Hitmonlee's signature moves, Sonic Punch? Although the base damage of this move wasn't high, its biggest advantage was its speed. Incredibly fast. Bang! By the time Mu Chen reacted, Hitmonlee's heavy punch was already in front of him. Mu Chen didn't even have time to dodge before being knocked to the ground by Hitmonlee's punch. Chaha! Hitmonlee was even more excited after landing a punch on Mu Chen. Lightning and fire energy crackled on its fists as it unleashed a flurry of punches at Pikachu, which was lying face down on the ground. These were Hitmonlee's signature fist techniques, Lightning Palm and Fire Punch. However, due to Mu Chen's lightning rod-like properties, only the Fire Punch could truly harm it. Pika Pika, damn it. Is this never going to end? Feeling the burning pain in his back, Mu Chen was instantly enraged. Thinking of Misty's smiling face and encouraging anticipation when she woke up, Mu Chen exploded. That damn skinny guy, how dare he make me lose face in front of Misty? Chaha! Hitmonlee, caught up in its punching spree, suddenly realized its target had disappeared. Just as it was feeling confused, a golden figure shot towards it. It turned out that after enduring a barrage of punches from Hitmonlee, Mu Chen, enduring the pain, activated Quick Attack, successfully escaping Hitmonlee's attack range. Immediately, without pausing, he used Quick Attack again, ramming into the bewildered Hitmonlee who couldn't find his target. Enraged, Mu Chen performed exceptionally well this time. Both quick attacks were lightning fast, with no gap between them, leaving even the spectators bewildered. Chaha! Hitmonlee's cry of pain rang out, causing an uproar among the audience. Earlier, when they saw Hitmonlee take the initiative and knock down Pikachu, they thought the match was over. But who would have thought that Pikachu would be so tenacious? And that Pikachu's use of its moves would be so swift? Well done, Pikachu, charge! Chapter 131 Let's roll together. Pikachu, a mournful cry rang out. Unfortunately, the owner of the voice was none other than our unfortunate protagonist, Mu Chen. Mu Chen's sudden counterattack had indeed caught Hitmonlee off guard. But that was all. After being knocked to the ground by Mu Chen, Hitmonlee quickly got up with a graceful and elegant movement. Then, just as Mu Chen was about to press his advantage, what appeared before him wasn't the panicked face he had imagined from Hitmonlee, but a fist the size of a sandbag. Bang! With Mu Chen's lightning-fast dash, he collided with Hitmonlee's fist, so the mournful cry was no surprise. Chaha! Hitmonlee jumped up excitedly, having once again knocked Pikachu down with a punch. Pikachu Pikachu, what the hell? How is that so fast? Mu Chen was completely dumbfounded after being knocked down by Hitmonlee's counterattack. Previously, whether facing Machamp or Golem, they were both power-type fighters. Now, although Hitmonlee is relatively slender, it focuses on speed and technique. Unfortunately, Mu Chen didn't understand this and still used it as a Machamp fighter, so it's no wonder it suffered a loss. Chaha! Mu Chen was stunned, but Hitmonlee didn't. Taking advantage of Pikachu's inability to get up, Hitmonlee once again rushed forward and unleashed a barrage of punches at Mu Chen. Bang! 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 The sounds of impact echoed continuously from the arena. At this moment, almost all the spectators had already made their predictions about the outcome of this match. Pikachu! Go for it! Don't give up, Pikachu! Go for it! Don't forget what you promised me. Of course, not everyone was so certain that Hitmonlee would be the winner. In the front of the audience, Ash and Misty were shouting wildly, hoping that the golden figure in the arena could hear their cheers. Pikachu, after being pummeled by Hitmonlee's relentless punches, Mu Chen was definitely in pain, and even more so, stunned. At this moment, he genuinely considered giving up. But just then, within the bustling arena, Mu Chen vaguely heard two familiar voices. Following the direction of the sound, Mu Chen turned his gaze. At this moment, sure enough, those two figures jumping around frantically were none other than Ash and Misty. Pikachu, seeing Ash and Misty still cheering him on amidst the crowded throng, Mu Chen's lost strength returned. Damn it! It's just a slightly faster monkey, do you think I'm afraid of you? With his courage restored, Mu Chen let out a loud cry and immediately retaliated against Hitmonlee. Taking advantage of Hitmonlee's incoming punch, Mu Chen disregarded everything else, extending his short arm to withstand the blow. Then, he used Hell Roll, grabbing Hitmonlee's fist. Damn it! Quick attack didn't work, so I'll just roll you around. Knowing that speed wouldn't give him an advantage, Mu Chen opted for the inflicted wound of Hell Roll. I refuse to believe I can't withstand you. Chaha! Hitmonlee was preparing to finish the match in one fell swoop. Unexpectedly, the yellow-skinned mouse beneath him, who hadn't moved for so long, suddenly launched a counterattack. Caught off guard, Hitmonlee was caught completely off guard, and Pikachu grabbed his arm, starting to roll him around repeatedly. Bang! 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 The sounds of impact echoed from the ring once more. However, this time it wasn't just Pikachu being tortured. Pikachu, with its small body, clung to Hitmonlee, rolling repeatedly across the ring. The sounds of their impact echoing across the arena. The entire noisy arena fell silent at this sight. Then, the silence returned with a roar. But this time, almost everyone was cheering for the indomitable golden figure. Pikachu! Go for it! Well done, Pikachu! Ha ha ha! That was so exciting. I thought the match was over, but who knew Pikachu would be so tenacious? Wow! I want a Pikachu like that too. The clamor from the stands naturally reached Mu Chen's ears. However, at this moment, Mu Chen could only smile wryly. He had endured quite a few attacks from Hitmonlee. Even if Hitmonlee wasn't known for its strength, and even if its attacks weren't particularly powerful, the sheer frequency of its attacks was overwhelming. Under Hitmonlee's barrage of punches, Mu Chen's stamina had already been severely depleted. The fact that he could still use the Hell Roll move was entirely due to his willpower. Pikachu! After one Hell Roll ended, Mu Chen didn't give Hitmonlee any time to react, directly taking it into the next round of Hell Roll. Damn it! Why aren't you dizzy yet? If you don't give up, I really can't hold on anymore. Although Mu Chen only suffered a slight impact, with his stamina already exhausted, this slight impact still became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Oh my god, what do you mean? Are they both unconscious? Finally, after an unknown amount of time, Pikachu's endless use of the Hell Roll move stopped. Looking at the two Pokémon that had both fainted on the stage, all the spectators were stunned. This was truly the first time such a situation had occurred. How to determine the winner? After all, it was a competition, and a draw was impossible. Therefore, the organizers had to make an arbitration regarding the outcome of this match. Ladies and gentlemen, trainers, let us welcome Ash from Pallet Town, the winning Pokémon trainer of this match. Finally, after reviewing the slow-motion replay, the organizers confirmed that Hitmonlee fainted slightly earlier than Pikachu. Naturally, the winner was Pikachu. The organizers were extremely shocked by this dark horse that had fought its way through the competition. The P1 fighting tournament wasn't the first time it had been held. But this was the first time the championship had been awarded to a creature like Pikachu, whose cuteness outweighed its fighting prowess. Moreover, everyone knew that Pikachu was a special attack-type Pokémon. Ha ha ha. Great! We won! Ash, holding the unconscious Pikachu, was overjoyed. Chapter 132 Black Cloud City. Pikachu, when Mu Chen woke up again, he had no idea how much time had passed. Looking at the dilapidated town before him, surrounded by abandoned steel buildings, Mu Chen was completely bewildered. Holy crap! How long have I been asleep? Where the hell am I? It stinks. Where am I? Mu Chen wasn't the only one with questions. Xiaoxia, according to the map, this is Black Cloud City, which used to be a very prosperous metropolis. Looking at the dilapidated scene around him, Xiaoxia himself was deeply skeptical of what he was saying. Black Cloud City? Why does it smell so bad here? Huh? Pikachu? You're awake. Just as Xiaoxia was talking to Xiaoxia, the movement in her arms made her realize that Pikachu had woken up. Ha ha ha. Pikachu, you're finally awake? Look. What's this? Seeing Pikachu awake, Xiaoxia excitedly took out a large trophy from his backpack. This was his first major tournament trophy, and Ash declared he would keep it forever. Pikachu, holy crap. He won? Seeing the trophy Ash produced, Mu Chen suddenly remembered. It seemed that when he was rolling around with that Hitmonlee, he'd unknowingly passed out. That worked? In the previous battle, Mu Chen had relied entirely on willpower. He never imagined he could win the competition like that. Damn it. If he'd known, Why would he have bothered showing off his speed to that hitmanly? He could have just rushed up, grabbed it, and rolled around a bit, and that would have been it. Thinking about his foolish attempt to show off with quick attack, a faint sense of sadness washed over Mu Chen. Alright, Ash, stop showing off. Can't you see Pikachu's covered in bruises? Let's hurry and find a Pokémon Center. There's no Pokémon Center in this small town, so Ash and Misty traveled non-stop to Black Cloud City to treat Pikachu's serious injuries. Even in a dilapidated city, at least there's a Pokémon Center. Pikachu, no way. I don't want to go to that fatso's hands. Hearing Misty say she was going to take him to Pokémon Center, Mu Chen struggled violently. But this struggle brought intense pain that quickly spread throughout his body. Mu Chen then realized that he really needed treatment. Damn it, I regret this. Thinking that most of his injuries were from Hitmonchan's cannon punch, Mu Chen's heart began to bleed. Alice, it was too late for regrets. Miss Nurse Joy, my Pokémon is injured. Could you please heal it? Finally, following the map's directions, Ash successfully found the Pokémon Center located in town. Okay, trainer, please give it to me. Unlike Nurse Joy's in other places, Nurse Joy in Black Cloud City, just like the city's name, had a face clouded with worry. Miss Nurse Joy, what's wrong? Is something bothering you? If you need help, we'll definitely do our best to help you. Ash's words weren't meant to flirt. Upon seeing Nurse Joy's face clouded with worry, he naturally switched to his superhero mode. Thank you so much. It's like this, please contact Officer Jenny. Black Cloud City does indeed need help from trainers outside. Hearing Ash offer to help, Nurse Joy smiled. Regardless of this trainer's strength, at least he had a kind heart. Okay, we'll go find Officer Jenny right now. Pikachu, you stay here, we'll be right back. Hearing that Nurse Joy was indeed in trouble, Ash readily took her on. HMPH. Ash, am a champion fighting tournament trainer. What can possibly be difficult for me? Because of Mu Chen's efforts, Ash's inexplicable confidence worsened. Pikachu, go, all of you go. Mu Chen had absolutely no thoughts about Ash and Misty leaving. The thought of soon being embraced by that chubby cheese egg made Mu Chen feel utterly hopeless. But Mu Chen quickly changed his mind. What an adorable Pikachu. I wonder what your owner was thinking, letting you suffer such serious injuries? But he's not a bad person, so let me give you a proper treatment today. Black Cloud City was already in decline, and the Pokémon Center didn't usually have much foot traffic. Nurse Joy here really didn't have a cheese egg to help her. Pikachu, holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. At this moment, Mu Chen shed tears of excitement. Damn it. How long have I been in this world? Finally, I'm getting to enjoy Miss Joey's personal treatment. Ah, these little hands, so soft. The unexpected joy filled Mu Chen with happiness. Although he couldn't take advantage of Miss Joey in any way, the satisfaction he felt was absolutely different from being tortured by the happy egg. But Alice, this happiness didn't last long. While Mu Chen was still immersed in Miss Joey's massage, he suddenly felt her stop. Then, before Mu Chen could react, Miss Joey began to replicate the happy egg's operation, throwing Mu Chen into the treatment machine. Pikachu, damn it. I hate this evil high technology. This was Mu Chen's last thought before being hypnotized. Beep beep, random mission activated. Unknown creatures inside the unmanned power plant. Mission requirements, protect Ash from being attacked by the unknown creatures inside the unmanned power plant. Mission reward, unknown. Failure penalty, unknown. Upon waking again, the first thing Mu Chen heard was the random mission from the system. What? An unmanned power plant? Unknown creatures? And it was even emphasized? Hearing the system's voice in his mind, Mu Chen's first reaction was that this mission was incredibly difficult. This is unknown reward. Unknown penalty. This situation seems to have only happened once before. Thinking back to the dangerous situation he experienced on the St. N, Mu Chen felt a chill. This is happening again? Huh? Pikachu, you're awake? By the way, your trainer asked me to tell you. They went to explore the unmanned power plant to find out why the power inside isn't working. It turned out that after Mu Chen fainted, Ash and Misty found Officer Jenny in Black Cloud City. At this time, Black Cloud City was indeed in trouble. The unmanned power plant that supplies electricity to the entire city has inexplicably stopped providing power since yesterday. The city's power reserves will only last for a day or two. Officer Jenny, responsible for protecting the city, has no choice but to seek help from visiting trainers to investigate the power plant's failure. Just then, Ash and Misty arrived. Chapter 133 Target, Unmanned Power Plant. Pikachu, damn it. Ash. You're such a worrywart. At this moment, Mu Chen was running frantically through the dilapidated streets of Black Cloud City. If it weren't for the system mission, Mu Chen would definitely be comfortably lying in the Pokémon Center, discussing his future plans with Nurse Joy. But Alice. There are no ifs in this world. After hearing the mission issued by the system, Mu Chen had no choice. The punishment was unknown. The unknown is what I fear most. Moreover, with the system's guidance, Mu Chen also knew that the abandoned power plant was extremely dangerous. He couldn't bear to let that idiot Ash and his beloved Misty go on such an adventure. Therefore, the only thing this guy could do now was run like crazy. Ash, according to Officer Jenny and the electrician, the isolated island across the river is the abandoned power plant, right? Following the directions, Misty and Ash had arrived at the outskirts of Black Cloud City. Looking at the seemingly endless river, Zaya-Aksha hesitated for a moment. This is a river? This must be it. Melodic, come out. No matter how wide the river was, Ash wasn't worried. Melodic could carry them safely across the ocean, let alone this mere river. Melodic was naturally excited to be out for some fresh air. However, when she came out, she found that her little nemesis wasn't there. Melodic, are you looking for Pikachu? That guy is injured and is recovering at the Pokémon Center. Compared to Ash, who was only focused on battle, Zaya-Aksha was much more perceptive. When she saw Melodic looking around after being summoned, she immediately guessed the reason. Hearing Zaya-Aksha's words, Melodic let out a worried cry. That was her little nemesis. Of course, Ash and Zaya-Aksha couldn't understand Melodic's cry. Alright, Melodic, let's go. Take us across the river to that deserted island. Exploring the deserted island and uncovering the secrets of the power plant's inability to generate electricity was something Ash was absolutely thrilled about. At that moment, Ash's heart was already set on that deserted island across the river. Pikachu, just as Ash and Misty stepped onto Melodic's back, preparing to cross the river, a loud cry suddenly came from behind them. Ash! Wait! It's Pikachu! Hearing the cry, Misty instinctively turned around. And who else could it be but Pikachu? Ha. Pikachu, you're back to normal? Didn't I tell you to rest? Why did you follow me? Seeing Pikachu rushing towards him, Ash excitedly opened his arms. His Pokémon was truly amazing, it came right away as soon as it recovered. Clearly, it wanted to fight alongside him. Pikachu, ignoring Ash's idiot act, Mu Chen shot towards Misty's arms. You idiot, go hug air. Pikachu, why aren't you resting? Look how tired you are. You're soaked in sweat. Holding Pikachu in her arms, Misty naturally felt that Pikachu was drenched in sweat from running. Pikachu, damn it. I didn't want to suffer either, but who told Ash to be such a worrywart? Hearing Misty's greeting, Mu Chen felt utterly helpless. Alright, Melodic, let's go. Pikachu returned, and although Ash only hugged air, it didn't diminish his enthusiasm. I know, seeing that his little nemesis was alright, Melodic also relaxed. With a flick of its tail, Melodic's entire body began to twist on the water's surface. Splash splash, the sound of rippling water echoed as Melodic moved forward. However, at this moment, Mu Chen had no time to pay attention to the surrounding scenery like Ash. His attention was completely drawn to Misty. You see, this guy had come running all the way here, his whole body soaked in sweat. He'd jumped right into Misty's arms, all wet and ready. What would happen was obvious. As the saying goes, the more you see, the more alluring. And that was exactly how Misty appeared in Mu Chen's eyes. A cry of surprise rang out. Misty? What's wrong? What happened? Is there a wild Pokémon? Hearing Misty's cry, Ash naturally asked immediately. No, nothing. I just lost my balance. Misty was joking. She would never tell Ash that his starter Pokémon, that damned Pikachu, had a nosebleed again. As for the reason for the nosebleed, Misty wasn't stupid. She looked down and knew what had happened. You little brat. You're a Pokémon? Can't you act like one? Looking at Pikachu, flustered and constantly wiping its nosebleed, Zaya-Aksha didn't know whether to be angry or amused. Pika, holy crap. This was an accident. That's not what I meant. Mu Chen declared he absolutely wouldn't take the blame for this. Who could have predicted this in the first place? I had no choice. Pikachu. You little brat. I'm telling you, if you dare do this again, I'm really not talking to you anymore. Looking at Pikachu's helpless expression, Xia was instantly furious. So, it's not your fault, it's mine? Of course, Xia herself wasn't sure how credible the "I'll never talk to you again" statement was. How many times had this happened? It had probably really become a habit. Pika, holy crap. Honey, can't you use a different way to threaten me? Similarly, Mu Chen was basically immune to this threat. But he still had to put on a show. Girls, no matter what, a little coaxing is never a bad thing. Even if Mu Chen was a homebody in his past life, he still knew this basic common sense. But just as he was about to make a move, Zhi suddenly shouted, "Zio Misty! Pikachu! Look! A deserted island." Zhi was completely unaware of the little interaction between Zio Misty and Pikachu behind him. Watching expectantly, the deserted island finally came into view. Pikachu, holy crap, it's here already? Just as Mu Chen was considering how to salvage the situation and regain the points he'd lost with Zio Misty, he heard Zhi's excited shout. What does a deserted island equal? An unmanned power plant. Mu Chen knew in his heart that in this unmanned power plant, he was about to face a brand new challenge. Chapter 134 Mu Chen, unable to discharge. ZZZZZZZZZZ. At this moment, Mu Chen was a little confused. What was going on? Why was the electricity in his body suddenly jumping uncontrollably on his cheeks? Because of this, Mu Chen didn't even dare to stay in Xiaoxia's arms. Who knew if this thing, out of control, would suddenly give Xiaoxia a shock? If it was just an electric shock, that would be fine, but if it were a 100,000-volt shock, wouldn't he have nowhere to cry? Helpless, Mu Chen could only reluctantly take his short legs and shuffle along with Zhi and Xiaoxia. Zhi, why does this unmanned power plant smell so bad? Entering the unmanned power plant, Xiaoxia didn't feel anything else, but the stench was really unbearable for her. Just bear with it, I guess no one has come to inspect it for years, so it's all rotten, right? Similarly, Zhi also found it hard to endure the stench. However, having already promised Officer Jenny to explore why the unmanned power plant couldn't generate electricity on its own, Ash wouldn't back down easily because of this mere stench. Pikachu, two weaklings. Mu Chen looked down on Ash and Misty for being unable to tolerate such a mere stench. This was nothing. Compared to the stench attack of gloom, the air here was incredibly fresh. But this stench didn't seem to be from mechanical decay and aging. Although Mu Chen was a homebody in his previous life, he had lived for over 20 years and still had basic common sense. If it were mechanical decay and aging, it definitely shouldn't smell this bad. Instead, it should have a slightly sour smell. But now, this was pure sewer smell. Beep, beep. Just as Mu Chen was wondering, a series of Pokémon cries suddenly came from inside the power plant. Ash, did you hear that? There seems to be some noise up ahead. Pokémon. It's a Pokémon's voice. Let's go check it out. In this deserted power plant, the sudden sound of a Pokémon's cry naturally caught Ash and Misty's attention. Pikachu, holy crap. Wait for me. Ash and Misty suddenly sped up and started running, causing the distracted Mu Chen to panic. Damn it. My mission is to protect Ash. If you run away like this and something happens, I'll be the one who suffers. Running wildly, Mu Chen was stunned when he turned a corner. Holy crap. Could this be the unknown creature mentioned in the mission? Damn it. How disgusting. Ew. Ash, so disgusting, so much slime. That stench must have come from them. Of course, Mu Chen wasn't the only one disgusted by this thing. Looking at the dense army of slime, Misty also felt goosebumps. These things, their sticky appearance alone is enough to make one nauseous, let alone the constant stench they emit. If it were just one or two, it would be alright, but the sight of dozens wriggling together. Pikachu, prepare for battle. I think the reason the unmanned power plant can't transmit electricity to the town might be because of them. Upon seeing these stinky slimes, Ash's first reaction was that their presence was preventing electricity from reaching the town. Pikachu, could I say no? Faced with dozens of stinky slimes, Mu Chen instinctively wanted to say no. But Alice, the system mission was right there. Not only Ash suspected it, but Mu Chen did too. The reason the unmanned power plant couldn't generate electricity was probably because of these disgusting things. For the sake of the system mission, Mu Chen could only grit his teeth and fight. Fight the cats. Come on. I'm a ranged attacker, I won't get disgusted by you unless I engage in close combat. Having decided on his tactics, Mu Chen dashed forward. Good job, Pikachu. Use Thunderbolt. Pikachu, unusually, didn't refuse his request, and Ash immediately became excited. Pika Pika, Thunderbolt my ass. I need to charge. Since acquiring the charge skill, Mu Chen hadn't used it even once. Now, with so many sludge troops, Mu Chen naturally wanted to seize the opportunity to strengthen himself. However, he overlooked the abnormal situation on his cheeks since entering this unmanned power plant. Zzzzzzz, what? What's going on? Is the skill fake? System, you damn well better come out here. He had already struck a pose, and the charge skill was activated. Just as he felt the current surging on his cheeks, before Mu Chen could even get excited, the power cut off. Even though his body had plenty of electricity, no matter how hard Mu Chen tried to activate it, not a single ounce of electricity could be gathered on his cheeks. Pikachu, what's wrong? Why aren't you attacking? Ash was getting anxious seeing Pikachu standing in front of him, striking a pose for ages without moving. This army of Grimer was moving and hadn't spotted many of them yet. If they found them soon, he'd lose this chance to ambush them. Pikachu, damn it. I don't want to attack, do I? But the problem is, right now, forget about Charge or Thunderbolt. Even weak moves like Electric Shock are useless to me. What am I going to do? Help, system, I don't want to fight hand-to-hand. Mu Chen wasn't too worried about fighting Pokémon like Machamp and Golem. But he was genuinely terrified of this disgusting Grimer. After one hand-to-hand fight, he'd say goodbye to Misty's warm embrace forever. Ash, Pikachu seems to be having some problems. Quickly, make it retreat. Misty was much more attentive. Seeing Pikachu's utterly bewildered and helpless expression, Misty clearly guessed what was going on. Coo-ee, coo-ee. Just as Ash was struggling with his decision, just as Misty was about to summon Starmie, and just as Mu Chen was completely dumbfounded, a different Pokemon's cry suddenly came from behind them. Pika, holy crap. What's going on? A pincer attack? Hearing the cry from behind, Mu Chen panicked. The army of Grimer in front was moving towards them, and now another wave had suddenly appeared from behind. Wasn't this going to kill them? Damn it, I can't handle this in my current state. Chapter 135 The Little Magnetic Monster Attracted by Mu Chen. Pikachu. Run, oh my god. What's going on? Ash and Misty were completely stunned by the situation before them. They had been prepared to fight back after hearing the cries of Pokémon behind them. But unexpectedly, dozens of Pokémon appeared behind them. However, this time it wasn't those disgusting creatures like Grimer, but Magnemite, which lived in an abandoned power plant. Of course, this didn't make much difference to Ash and Misty. It was just another Pokémon, and if it attacked them, it would be no different from Grimer. The problem was, these suddenly appearing Magnemite completely ignored Ash and Misty, charging straight at Pikachu. This immediately terrified Ash and Misty. What was going on with these Magnemite? Were they planning to focus fire on Pikachu? Pikachu, holy crap. At this moment, Mu Chen was internally collapsing. What did I do to deserve this? I haven't even figured out how to deal with the stinky slime in front of me, and now so many metal gibbers have appeared? Fine, they're coming out, but why the hell are they chasing me? What did I do to offend them? What's even more perplexing for Mu Chen is that the electricity that couldn't gather on his cheeks before has started jumping uncontrollably again. But the problem is, facing these dozens of metal gibbers, Mu Chen has absolutely no interest in communicating with them using 100,000 volts. He's an electric-type Pokémon himself, so how could Mu Chen not know? His 100,000 volts would be completely useless against these creatures. Helpless, Mu Chen could only activate high-speed movement and enter Parker mode. To hell with them, I'm not putting up with this anymore. However, the most unacceptable thing for him is that after Mu Chen started running, these Magnemite behind him also started accelerating, chasing after him with coo-ee, coo-ee, damn it. Come out, Kirlia, get ready for battle. Seeing Pikachu being chased frantically by Magnemite, Ash immediately reached for his waist, ready to send Kirlia to the rescue. But just then, Misty stopped him. Wait. Ash. Look, these Magnemites don't seem to have any ill intentions towards Pikachu. They're just chasing Pikachu, but they haven't attacked it at all. By this time, Pikachu had already led a group of Magnemites around the arena, and Misty, who had been observing closely, noticed something amiss. The Magnemites' behavior didn't seem like they were going to attack Pikachu at all. Now that you mention it, it's true. Ha ha ha. How strange. Why are these Magnemites chasing Pikachu? It's not even a female. Reminded by Misty, Ash abandoned his plan to summon Kirlia and instead looked at the strange scene before him with great curiosity. The dozens of Magnemites just kept chirping and chasing Pikachu, even surrounding it, but didn't do anything else. Ah. Ash. I remember. Ash's rambling was overheard by Misty, which sparked her inspiration. Remembered what? Seeing Misty's startled expression, Ash's face was filled with questions. What's going on? Pikachu, holy crap. What the hell are you two doing with that? Earlier, Mu Chen had vaguely heard Ash about to summon Kirlia, and he had felt a little excited. If Kirlia helped, he could escape the Magnemite's pursuit. But unexpectedly, halfway through the summoning, it stopped. And then, these two started chatting with that. Damn it. Are you just ignoring me like this? At this moment, Mu Chen's small heart was filled with grief and indignation. I'm used to Ash's crazy antics, but the problem is, Misty, how can you do this too? Didn't you see those metal bastards chasing after that cool sound? Ash. You noticed the uncontrollable jumps of electricity on Pikachu's cheeks, right? Have you ever heard that Magnemite is attracted by electrical fluctuations? They were chasing Pikachu probably because they were attracted by the constantly jumping electricity on its cheeks. At this moment, Misty transformed into Detective Conan, giving Ash a lecture. Ash hadn't reacted yet, but Mu Chen, who was running in Misty's direction, was dumbfounded. Holy crap. What's going on? These Magnemite were attracted by the electricity on my face? Damn it. I'm a male. What are you guys looking at? Even if all of you metal bastards were female, I still wouldn't budge an inch. Mu Chen wasn't stupid. After hearing Ziox's explanation, he understood everything. This is Magnemite. Magnemite. Is this guy sending me a courtship signal? Ha ha ha. Now that you mention it, it really is true. Then I'm relieved, Pikachu. You don't need to run anymore, these Magnemites won't hurt you. With Ziox's explanation, Zio-Zhi also understood the general idea. At least, he confirmed that the Magnemites weren't hostile towards Pikachu. Pika, damn it. Not running. If I don't run, am I supposed to just wait to be knocked down by these metal bastards? Thinking of that tragic possibility, Mu Chen ran even faster. Rather than being knocked down by these metal bastards, I'd rather be attacked. Wait. Attack. That's right, holy crap. I can do that. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck Mu Chen. You Grimer have so many of you, right? I couldn't generate electricity before, and I don't have time to now. But that's alright. I have a whole bunch of minions following me. As long as I lure these Magnemites to Grimer's side, I'm not afraid they'll start fighting. Even if they don't fight, we can help them fight, right? Thinking of this possibility, Mu Chen was excited. What else is there to say? Let's go. With a plan in mind, Mu Chen activated high speed again, leading his group of Magnemites and charging headlong into the Grimer army. Pikachu. What are you doing? Seeing Pikachu ignore his command and turn around to run towards the Grimer army, Ash was dumbfounded. Was Pikachu going to engage in melee combat with Grimer? Fine, let's fight, but the problem is, you have a whole bunch of Magnemites behind you? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136 Mu Chen's Strategy. Pikachu, Kui, led by Mu Chen's unwavering leadership, the Magnemite army roared and charged towards the moving Grimer army. Beetle, suddenly, an electric-type army attacked, and the moving Grimer panicked. What's going on? We were just peacefully migrating and moving to a new place. Why are they all shouting for battle? What did we do to deserve this? However, the enemy was already roaring and charging forward, and not fighting back was definitely not in the Grimer's nature. You see, in this unmanned power plant, Both Grimer and Magnemite are permanent residents. The relationship between these two species is not very pleasant to begin with. Now, seeing the Magnemite army roaring and charging forward, the Grimer immediately stopped their slow wriggling and stretched out their mud-covered hands. Then, the Grimer began frantically digging at their own bodies. Whoosh! 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 After a frantic digging, the Grimer army launched the first attack. Pikachu, holy crap! That's awesome! I haven't even gotten into your formation yet, and you're already at it? Mud's overreaction startled Mu Chen. His original plan was to at least get into the Mud's formation and then lightly throw in a couple of thunderbolts to fan the flames. But unexpectedly, Mud just threw mud clumps at him like that? Having exceeded his objective, Mu Chen lost interest in continuing the charge. Who knew how difficult it would be to escape safely after charging in? Pikachu, goodbye, you guys can have your fun. With a graceful tail flick, Mu Chen changed direction and immediately activated Quick Attack. Cooey. Mu Chen's tail flick was successful. Magnemite didn't have such a high gear. Under the onslaught of the Grimer's mud attacks, the Magnemites were enraged. Although the Steel-Electric type Magnemites weren't afraid of Poison-type attacks, the problem was, they couldn't stand how disgusting it was. This mud was something the Grimer had pulled out of their own bodies. In their fury, the Magnemites abandoned Pikachu, who had already dashed far away, and charged at the disgusting Grimer. Pika, beautiful. Attack. Attack hard. Take them all down. Seeing the Magnemites and the Grimer army clash as he had predicted, Mu Chen jumped up excitedly. Letting them fight each other was much easier than him foolishly trying to fight against the electric attack. You see, when Mu Chen first faced so many Grimer alone, he had already prepared to rely on speed to kite them and fight a war of attrition. But unexpectedly, these Magnemites appeared. Although he initially made a mess of things, the result was still quite acceptable. At this moment, what Mu Chen hoped for most was for Magnemite and the Muk army to fight to the death, until both were severely injured and completely wiped out. Only then could he comfortably enjoy the fruits of victory, right? Ha ha ha. Beautiful. Well done, Pikachu. As expected of my starter Pokémon, similarly, Ash, who was watching from behind, also noticed the change. When he saw Pikachu luring the Magnemite army into a battle with the Muk army, he immediately burst into excited laughter. Yes, Pikachu is really smart. Unlike the idiot Ash, Misty was more focused on Pikachu's series of actions. Obviously, at first, Pikachu didn't understand why Magnemite was chasing it. So at the beginning, Pikachu was just running away for its life out of instinct. However, as Misty solved the mystery, the little guy Pikachu actually thought of a way to get rid of the Magnemite's entanglement in an instant. They even managed to kill two birds with one stone, luring Magnemite into a battle with the Muk army blocking their path. This, no matter how you look at it, isn't the kind of intelligence a Pokémon should possess. Although Misty considered herself to have a very deep understanding of Pikachu, this scene today shocked her once again. Perhaps even some humans might not have such adaptability? Thinking of this, Misty glanced briefly at Ash, who was still excitedly howling. Pikachu, what Ash and Misty were thinking, of course, Mu Chen didn't know. At this moment, his attention was completely focused on the two Pokémon armies locked in combat. As the battle continued, Mu Chen noticed that the Magnemite army was gradually falling into a disadvantageous position. Although Magnemite had a type advantage, their numbers were far fewer than the Muk army. As the Muk pounced and used their bodies to attack Magnemite, these giants gradually couldn't hold on. This couldn't work. What Mu Chen wanted was for them to suffer heavy losses. If the Magnemite army were to be wiped out, while he would be rid of one troublesome enemy, Mu Chen would still have to face the remaining Grimer alone. Thinking of Grimer's nauseating attack methods, Mu Chen decisively abandoned the idea of a one-on-one fight. What if Grimer accidentally threw a cloying sludge at him? Would his fur even be safe? Therefore, what Mu Chen needed to do now was to bring the battle between the two armies back to a balanced state. Zzz. The sound of electricity crackled again from his cheeks. Fortunately, this time it didn't fail midway like last time. Charging and strengthening without any hindrance, Mu Chen immediately felt the electricity in his cheeks almost leaping out. This is incredible. Even before he could unleash the condensed electricity, Mu Chen felt its power. Pikachu, come on. Let's try out my super 100,000 volt. Although the electricity within Mu Chen wasn't completely depleted like it was during his battle with Sabrina, Thanks to the charge enhancement, its power was still considerable. Zzzzz. With a cry from Mu Chen, the constantly leaping currents on his cheeks began to converge. In an instant, a bolt of electricity as thick as a fist coalesced and shot towards the battling mud army. Boom, a deafening roar. This 100,000-volt attack, amplified by the charge skill, blasted a gap in the mud army's formation. Looking at the damage inflicted by his single 100,000-volt attack, Mu Chen was mesmerized. This is my true power. Wahatwaha. Chapter 137 Giant Sludge. Pikachu, standing before the battered Magnemite and the army of Grimer, Mu Chen resembled a victorious general. Although the system hadn't notified him of mission completion after defeating Grimer, Mu Chen remained completely unfazed. I've got a 100,000-volt charge in hand, the world is mine. Pikachu. Well done, Pikachu. You're amazing. So smart. Striding with his tail between his legs, Mu Chen accepted Ash and Misty's compliments like a triumphant general. HMPH. Well done? Absolutely. Mu Chen mentally gave himself a big thumbs up for this move. What pleased him most was that the electricity on his cheeks had returned to normal, no longer jumping uncontrollably. This meant Pikachu, with a swift movement, Mu Chen was back in Misty's warm embrace. Seriously, with a beautiful lady in his arms, who the hell wants to walk alone? Ash, look at the map. How far are we from the power plant's core? Although they had defeated the Grimer army, Misty wasn't sure if this would allow the power plant to start working properly. Therefore, they still had to reach the core of the power plant. Not too far. Just turn the corner ahead and walk a few hundred meters. Ash took out the map provided by Officer Jenny and compared it with the buildings in the area to make his judgment. Pikachu, core. Although Mu Chen knew that this mission wasn't over yet, a bad premonition immediately rose in his heart upon hearing the word core. According to the game's setting, the Grimer army was just a bunch of minor enemies blocking the way? Then the core is where the big boss resides? Holy crap! That so-called unknown creature must be the big boss? Thinking of this, Mu Chen became nervous. This wasn't because he was afraid of fighting. You know, the minor enemies here are Grimer. And the big boss? A giant Grimer? Just thinking about that possibility made Mu Chen's head buzz. The Muck's mud attack is mostly just annoying, but the big boss, damn it. It's not like it'll just smother me in mud. But Alice, in this world, the things you least want to see often happen right in front of you. Ash. Watch out, it's Muck. A huge Muck. Just as they turned the corner, a giant Muck, far larger than its kind, nearly 3 meters tall, appeared before Ash and his friends. Pidoo. At the same time Ash and Misty spotted Muck, this disgusting creature also noticed the uninvited guests they'd encountered at the street corner. Previously, when its minions were defeated, Muck hadn't shown any reaction. But now, seeing humans daring to invade its territory, Muck immediately struck a battle pose. Fight, Pikachu, I choose you. Seeing Muck in this pose, Ash didn't hesitate to give Pikachu the attack command. Pika, damn it. I must have owed you something in my past life. Mu Chen was completely numb to hearing that fight, Pikachu, but with a system mission looming, who else could step up if not Mu Chen? Besides, what were Ash's remaining Pokémon? That headstrong Pidgeotto would probably be taken down the moment it appeared. The other two were his girls. Mu Chen preferred to fight this disgusting creature himself. It was a man's duty. You go too, Starmie. Seeing the gigantic Grimer, Misty naturally wouldn't let Pikachu fight alone. But cool. Right, before Misty could even throw her Pokéball, one of the Pokéballs hanging from her waist launched itself. Then, a cute duck with its head tilted and hands covering its head appeared before her. Ah! Psyduck. I called for Starmie. Seeing Psyduck suddenly decide to fight, Misty helplessly rubbed her forehead. How unlucky. I ended up taming this silly creature. Cool, right, clearly, Psyduck didn't understand Zyuox's words. After a moment of confusion, it unleashed a psychic attack on the ready-to-fight Muck. Pikachu, holy crap. What are you doing? Seeing Psyduck attack without warning, Mu Chen, who was still gathering his energy, was stunned. Didn't you dare give me a moment to prepare? I haven't even charged yet. You know, while the charging skill is powerful, it requires a charging process. Mu Chen had just stuck out his butt and struck a pose, but before he could even begin charging, it was over. Beep. Already furious about its territory being invaded, Muck was now enraged that this silly duck dared to attack it. It mimicked the actions of previous Muck attacks, raising its hands high and then digging into its own body. Pikachu, holy crap, run. Seeing Muck's initial stance, how could Muck not know what it was planning? Muck's previous mud attacks were just small-scale versions of disgusting mud. If Muck threw out a larger version, wouldn't it be enough to kill someone? Muck had absolutely no interest in experiencing this thing's mud attack. Cool, right? Unlike Pikachu, who turned and ran, Psyduck, rarely seen in battle, was full of fighting spirit. Its first psychic attack failed, but Psyduck wasn't discouraged. After a cry, it fired another psychic attack at Muck. Clearly, this silly Pokémon was stubborn. Beep, although psychic attacks, being psychic-type moves, could be effective against Muck, a poison-type Pokémon, the key issue is the relative strength of the two using the move. In Muck's eyes, this psychic attack wasn't even a tickle. Completely ignoring Psyduck's psychic abilities, Muck swung its hand, pulling out a huge, foul-smelling lump of mud from its body and slamming it down on Psyduck, who was still preparing to use its third psychic attack. Smack, cool, right, given Muck's size, its attack was naturally incredibly powerful. Psyduck didn't even have time to react before being slammed to the ground by the massive lump of mud. Pikachu, better to die than lose, Psyduck. Watching Psyduck panic under the mud, Mu Chen silently mourned for it. Chapter 138 Mu Chen's heart is weary. Pikachu. Use Thunderbolt, Starmie, come out. Use U-turn to rescue Psyduck. Although she wasn't satisfied with Psyduck, it was still a Pokémon that Misty had caught. Seeing the silly duck's pathetic state under the mud, Misty's lips twitched slightly. That stupid duck. Why am I so unlucky? Pikachu, as the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. Thanks to Psyduck's selfless sacrifice, Mu Chen finally found an opportunity to charge and strengthen. Now, having completed his strengthening, he unleashed his inner electricity at Ash's command, and Thunderbolt shot out. Zzzzz. Watching Pikachu unleash a fist-thick Thunderbolt, roaring at the mud, and then looking at the silly duck struggling under the mud, Misty's heart was filled with a mixture of utter despair and utter disappointment. Beat, a 100,000-volt attack landed, and the massive, slow-moving Muck naturally absorbed it all. Even with its defense, the 100,000 volts after Mu Chen charged it still made it scream in pain. Well done, Pikachu, keep going, 100,000 volts. Seeing Mu Chen's 100,000 volts work, Ash was even more confident. This Muck only looks scary, its actual combat power seems to be just so-so. Pikachu, volts? Volts my foot. Does he think I charge it for free? Mu Chen had previously thought that the charging move could be used infinitely. But, after actually using it, he realized that it wasn't like that at all. This charging move was powerful, but it actually had a cooldown. After using it once, no matter how Mu Chen activated it, it couldn't use it a second time for a short period of time. A charged Thunderbolt is just enough to make Muck scream, but an uncharged Thunderbolt? Mu Chen had no interest in trying it. Unsurprisingly, Starmie, who was rescuing Psyduck, also got caught in the mud. Now, Starmie and Psyduck are truly brothers in misfortune. Seeing the two Pokémon stuck in the mud, Misty couldn't say she wasn't worried. Pikachu. Charge in and use Iron Tail to free them. Seeing Misty's two Pokémon trapped in the mud, Ash quickly commanded Pikachu. Pika, holy crap. Is that human speech? Hearing Ash's command, Mu Chen almost rushed in and gave him a good whack. This is awful. Didn't he see how terrifying that disgusting mud attack is? I'm only attacking because I'm far enough away that it can't hit me. And you're telling me to rush in? If I rush in, who's going to save me? Looking at the scene before him, Mu Chen had no doubts. If he dared to rush in, he would definitely be the next one shoved under the mud. Beep, Pikachu's thoughts were irrelevant to Muck. At this moment, it was still incredibly angry. Damn it. I was living peacefully in this abandoned power plant. Then suddenly a giant bird appeared and chased me away. Fine. You big bird are tough, I can't mess with you. But you, a yellow-skinned rat, dare to shock me? How can I tolerate this? You see, Muck had suffered countless electric shocks from that giant bird during its battle. The excruciating pain was something Muck would never forget. And now, Pikachu's 100,000-volt charge attack had once again brought back that terrifying experience. Because of this, Muck was now completely enraged. You electric bastards, get lost. Since you want to wipe us out, then I'll fight you to the death. Oh no. Ash. Quick, summon Kirlia and have it use Psychic to control Muk and restrict its movement." Seeing Muk begin to wriggle towards them, Misty was immediately alarmed. Muk's fighting power was clearly beyond their capabilities. Even Pikachu's Thunderbolt after recharging only managed to make Muk scream. If this behemoth attacked, not only would their two Pokémon be unable to rescue them, but they themselves would likely be defeated by its terrifying mud attack. No. Pokémon battles are sacred. Pikachu hasn't lost yet. I can't give up. Pika, what? Did you leave your brain at home? Holy crap. Hanako, what's your phone number? Hurry up and bring me your idiot son's brain. Hearing Ash's reply to Misty, Mu Chen almost fell over. This is infuriating. I haven't lost a battle, so you're not summoning other Pokémon? Holy my ass. This isn't a Pokémon battle. This is fighting a boss. Ash. Misty was equally exasperated by Ash's idiocy. Respecting Pokémon battles is good, but you have to consider the context, right? Is this the time to talk about Holy? But Ash is stubborn. Pikachu, damn it. I'm so unlucky. How did I end up with such a bronze-level teammate? Looking at Ash's serious expression, Mu Chen knew that this guy was absolutely not going to change his mind. Helpless, Mu Chen could only charge at Muk. What the hell did I do to deserve this? Beep. Seeing Pikachu charging at him, the slowly wriggling Muk suddenly howled excitedly. As it howled, Muk's two large hands once again reached into its body. Clearly, it was preparing for another mud attack, intending to slam Pikachu directly into the mud as well. Chapter 139 Strange Crying Sounds. Splash. Splash. Pikachu. Pikachu. The sounds of mud hitting the ground and Mu Chen's screams echoed continuously in the empty power plant. To protect Ash and Misty, Mu Chen had no choice but to grit his teeth and charge at Muk. Of course, this charge had its limits. After attracting Muk's attention, Mu Chen decisively changed his running direction. There was no other way. Mu Chen's primary task at this moment was to lure this disgusting toy away. If he accidentally let his beloved Misty get hit by a mud attack, wouldn't Mu Chen regret it to death? As for Ash, that idiot? Damn it. With the system protecting him, even if I'm unwilling, I have to serve him, right? At this moment, Mu Chen truly understood what it meant to dance on the edge of a knife. This was too exciting. Relying on his high-speed movement, Mu Chen narrowly avoided the mud that kept attacking from behind. However, Mu Chen knew this couldn't go on forever. What if he got knocked down by the mud? He'd be ruined. Therefore, what Mu Chen was doing was constantly firing 100,000 volts to lure the Muk forward. As for his purpose? No kidding, he wasn't a novice gamer. He'd done plenty of things like finding obstacles to trap monsters. Right now, at the edge of his vision, near a corner close to the core of the unmanned power plant, there was a perfect spot to trap the monster. Mu Chen believed that as long as he lured the Muk there, he could take it down without injury. But Alice, things didn't go as planned. Pikachu, holy crap. Muk, chase after me. What are you thinking? Are you planning to contemplate life? Running wildly, just as he was about to enter the corner, Mu Chen discovered that the Muk that had been chasing him had stopped. This was unacceptable. What the hell am I doing all this sweating for? To Mu Chen's dismay, no matter how much he used his 100,000 volts attack to harass Muk, the guy wouldn't budge an inch. He even showed a hint of human-like fear. Damn it. Don't tell me you're done for. Seeing Muk's expression, Mu Chen's mind started racing. Could it be that this guy is all bark and no bite, unable to withstand this barrage of attacks? Although it doesn't seem to have suffered much external damage, maybe it's internally injured? Thinking this, Mu Chen's eyes lit up. An opportunity. If I could take this thing down, how much experience would I get? My level would skyrocket. After continuous battles, Mu Chen's level had reached 36. But because his level was constantly rising, Mu Chen also found that leveling up was becoming increasingly difficult. Needless to say, those roadside monsters were no match for him. Even after the previous chaotic battle, his level hadn't changed at all. Now, judging by the size of this Muk, it's definitely a major boss. If he could take it down in a one-on-one fight, leveling up would be a piece of cake. Remember, when Mu Chen lured Muk before, he simply chased it away and then led Ash and the others to the core to restart the generator. Chasing it away and defeating it are completely different concepts. Under the huge temptation of leveling up, Mu Chen boldly turned and ran towards Muk. If you won't come to me, I'll come to you. Although Mu Chen's Thunderbolt could still hit Muk, its power would be greatly reduced at a distance. To quickly take down this giant toy, Mu Chen naturally wouldn't play games. With that time, wouldn't it be a million times better to be in Misty's arms, rolling around and acting cute, than to be stuck with this disgusting toy? Pikachu, seeing Pikachu turn around and run towards him, Muck, who had been standing still, suddenly lit up. Ahead lay the territory of that big bird. Having been brutally defeated once, Muck dared not go there under any circumstances. However, if this yellow-skinned mouse dared to offer itself up as food, Muck declared it would absolutely not refuse. Pikachu, something's fishy. After his previous battle with Primeape, Mu Chen already knew that these Pokémon were definitely not as foolish as he had imagined. They occasionally used ordinary tricks. That's why, although Mu Chen charged at Muck, he kept a close eye on Muck's movements. When he saw Muck actually grinning like a human, he immediately guessed the guy's purpose. Damn it! Are all these Pokémon becoming sentient these days? Luckily, I was careful. Upon realizing that Muck was plotting against him, Mu Chen immediately stopped his charge. Pikachu, HMPH. The distance is about right now. At worst, I'll just be careful. Can your mud's frequency be higher than my 100,000 volts? Whoa! Just as Mu Chen was about to unleash his 100,000 volts, just as Muck had been striking a pose, preparing to unleash its mud attack, a loud cry suddenly echoed from inside the unmanned power plant. Pikachu, holy crap! What the hell? That scared the hell out of me. The sudden cry behind him startled Mu Chen. Is this unmanned power plant haunted? Or is Muck just a pushover? Is there an even more powerful one inside the core of the power plant? This sudden thought sent chills down Mu Chen's spine. Holy crap! If there really is an even more powerful one, how am I supposed to fight? Mu Chen had already exhausted all his strength to deal with just one Grimer. If another one came along. Beep! Just as Mu Chen was still wondering, Grimer immediately proved his guess was correct. This Grimer was a little brother. Pikachu! Pikachu, big brother! Slow down, wait for me. Although he hadn't seen who the owner of the cry was, Grimer was so scared by that cry that Mu Chen ran away with his head in his hands. What reason did Mu Chen have to stand there? Ash! Did you hear that sound? Because Mu Chen had led Grimer too far, Ash and his companion, who were currently rescuing Psyduck and Starmie, didn't follow. It sounds like a bird call? Strange, how come there are bird Pokémon in this unmanned power plant? Ash was also completely baffled by the owner of the cry. Chapter 140 We cannot lose our momentum. Pikachu. What's going on up ahead? Attracted by the sound, Ash ran towards Pikachu. This carefree guy completely ignored the Muck that brushed past him. Of course, Muck, desperate to escape, also ignored the human. At this moment, Muck's only wish was to get away from this place as quickly as possible. This house isn't safe, it's too close, I'll keep moving. Pika Pika, holy crap. How was I supposed to know what happened? What the hell are you doing here? Can't you see I'm running for my life with this Muck? At this moment, Mu Chen completely understood that the unknown creature mentioned in the previous system mission wasn't the skinny Muck at all, but the owner of this shouting creature. However, seeing Muck so frightened by a single shout that it fled, Mu Chen didn't dare to look back and see what kind of creature the owner of that voice was. Ash, let's leave. Look, even Grimer has run away. The owner of that voice must be someone special. Having finally rescued Starmie and Psyduck, Misty quickly caught up. Ash, that carefree guy, ignored the fleeing Grimer, but Misty wouldn't. Earlier, when she saw Grimer charging at her, she almost fainted from fright. But this big guy completely ignored her, even ignoring Psyduck's psychic provocation before it was recalled to its Pokeball, just running headlong. Misty noticed this and naturally guessed that something terrifying must have happened ahead. No. Misty, we promised Officer Jenny and the electrician we'd find out the secret behind this power plant's inability to generate electricity. We're almost at the core, how can we give up halfway? Ash, to put it nicely, was sticking to his principles. To put it bluntly, it was. Pikachu, holy crap. Dude. Let's retreat. Hearing Ash's insistence on continuing, Mu Chen was on the verge of a breakdown. This damn unmanned power plant was a complete nightmare. First, there was the army of Grimer and Magnemite, then a giant Grimer, and now, an unknown, terrifying entity. Did Ash even know the meaning of fear? At this moment, Mu Chen was the one who most wanted Ash to retreat. His mission requirements didn't include completing the power plant task. He only needed to protect Ash's safety. But Ash was completely stubborn. Even with Mu Chen dragging him along, Ash resolutely strode forward. Ash. You're really something. Pikachu, let's go. Ignore him. Seeing Ash so stubborn, Misty was furious. This Ash. He's hopeless. Doesn't he even consider the balance of power between us and the enemy? Even with their combined strength, they might not have been able to defeat that terrifying giant, Muck. If Pikachu hadn't lured it away earlier, their survival would be uncertain. Now that Muck was fleeing in a sorry state, where did Ash get the courage to go and investigate? Pikachu, Misty, you understand me. But I can't go with you. Hearing Misty call him to leave, Mu Chen felt 1,000,000 times willing. But the mission was there, and he wouldn't give up no matter what. Besides, Mu Chen couldn't bring himself to abandon Ash. Although this guy was a bit of an idiot, and although he often left Mu Chen speechless, Mu Chen would never forget the moment when this guy risked his life to protect him. This guy was his brother. Abandoning a brother? Sorry, those words didn't exist in Mu Chen's dictionary. Ha ha ha. Xiaoxia, you're a girl, it's okay to be a little timid. But we men never back down in the face of difficulties. Did you see? Pikachu is standing with me too. Seeing Pikachu stop dragging its trousers after Xiaoxia's persuasion and walk in front of it, he burst into laughter. His starter Pokemon truly understood him. You guys. You're driving me crazy. Seeing that her stubborn team had gained a Pikachu after her attempts to stop them, Xiaoxia was speechless. However, courage isn't just for boys. After realizing her persuasion was useless, Xiaoxia gave up on this unrealistic idea. Since they were partners, they should face danger together. Pika, sister. Can't you stop making things worse? Xiaoxia's courageous behavior was torture for Mu Chen. I'm already protecting Xiaoxia, why are you trying to protect me too? I'm just a Pikachu, not some Pikachu god. Mu Chen suddenly realized that the power he had previously been so proud of was actually insufficient to protect those he wanted to protect in the face of real danger. Damn it. Still too weak. Get stronger. I'm going to become stronger. At this moment, under the pressure from that unknown and terrifying existence, Mu Chen was filled with an unprecedented desire to become stronger. If I were Pikachu right now, if I had the power to ignore everything, how could I possibly let Ash and Misty, the two people he cared about most, be in danger? After Ash decided to move forward, Mu Chen had already forgotten about that damned system mission. Even without that mission, he would never let anyone hurt this idiot who risked his life to protect him. As for Misty? Just kidding, if he had to choose to sacrifice one, Mu Chen would still decisively sacrifice Ash. As the saying goes, brothers are like limbs, women are like clothes. If you dare touch my clothes, I will break your limbs. Mu Chen was very clear about this. Whoa, as Ash and the others approached, that terrifying cry came again. Clearly, this was a warning to Ash and his friends. Ahead lay the territory of this terrifying being. If they dared to advance, they would inevitably face its relentless attacks. Pikachu, screw you. All you do is yell. Having put aside his worries, Mu Chen was now ready for battle. So what if it yells? Who's afraid of who? Do you think my voice will lose to yours? No matter who the opponent is, Mu Chen's choice is never to lose face. That's right. Pikachu, that's it. We're not afraid of it. No matter what this Pokemon occupying the core of the power plant is, we will defeat it. Of course, Mu Chen wasn't the only one full of confidence. Ash, possessing an aura of mysterious self-confidence, never lacked the courage to fight or the determination to win. Chapter 141 Zapdos. Oh my god. What is that? This. It's the legendary Pokemon, Zapdos. Finally, the owner of the terrifying voice appeared before Ash and Misty. When they saw this legendary creature, no words could adequately describe the astonishment and shock in their hearts. No matter how they thought about it, they never imagined that they, two novice Pokemon trainers, would encounter a legendary Pokemon in such a place. Pikachu, holy crap. System. Help. Are you kidding me? Is this even humanly possible? Looking at the Zapdos, its body crackling with electricity, Mu Chen finally understood why the regret pill was called a miraculous cure. Are you kidding me? Although Mu Chen hadn't watched the Pokemon anime, he had played the Pokemon games. How could he not know such a famous creature as Zapdos? Look at its wings, like steel blades, Look at its beak, like a drill, and then compare it to his own slender little body. Mu Chen's heart was bleeding. What kind of ridiculous nonsense is this? Fairy tales are all lies. Faced with this terrifying existence, Mu Chen couldn't muster even a shred of the courage to fight a dragon. That's pure bullshit. Pikachu. Get ready to battle. Of course, Ash was oblivious to Mu Chen's panic. After a brief moment of shock, Ash was practically trembling with excitement. Unbelievable. Ash, would actually have a day to battle a legendary Pokémon. If I could defeat it, or even capture it, would my dream of becoming a Pokémon master be one step closer? Pikachu, holy crap. What the hell did you say? Did you get your head caught in a door? Hearing Ash tell him to battle, Mu Chen nearly choked and collapsed to the ground. Should he be yelling run, at this moment? I was already in a running position, and this is what you tell me? This was because Mu Chen didn't know what Ash was thinking. If Mu Chen knew that this guy was even thinking of capturing Zapdos, Mu Chen would definitely rush up and give him a thunderbolt. Ash. Are you crazy? Run. That's Zapdos. A legendary Pokémon? It wasn't just Mu Chen who was shocked by Ash's thoughtless command. Xiaoxia was equally terrified. What a joke. Don't you even know your own skill level? This Zapdos is just staring at them. If it attacks, you won't even have the chance to run. Whoa, before Ash could reply, the Zapdos, which had suddenly entered its territory, erupted. Damn it. You're really taking me for granted. I yelled several times before, and you didn't even run away. Fine. Maybe it's because I don't show myself often, so you don't understand my yell. And then what? You've all seen my true form, and you still aren't running? This is a bit too much. As a legendary Pokémon of the Kanto region, Zapdos naturally possesses its own dignity. Seeing these trespassers daring to ignore him and even talk to him, Zapdos was enraged. Crackling sounds, a violent crackling of electricity accompanied the flapping of Zapdos's wings. Run. Ash, seeing Zapdos already in an attack stance, Misty was terrified. This was a legendary Pokémon. Run? Why run? We haven't even fought yet. Go, Pikachu, I choose you. Use Thunderbolt, let it see our courage. If you were still a novice, Ash might have run away after seeing this terrifying creature. But with each victory, Ash's confidence had been built up. His Pikachu would not fail. This was Ash's confidence in Pikachu. Pika, damn it. I must have owed you something in my past life. It would be a lie to say he wasn't afraid. It would also be a lie to say he didn't want to run. However, Ash, being stubborn, wouldn't run, and Misty, the little girl, was so frightened her legs were weak. Mu Chen was determined not to abandon them and escape alone. Left with no other choice, Mu Chen had to grit his teeth and charge at Zapdos. Agility, bring it on. At this moment, Mu Chen's only reliance was the boost from agility. If he was fast enough, this big bird shouldn't be able to hide him, right? Probably. Whoa, if Zapdos was previously angry because its dignity had been challenged, then now it felt as if its dignity had been trampled underfoot by this yellow-skinned rat, and it was enraged. I am a legendary Pokémon. You, a common yellow-skinned rat, dare to charge at me? Who gave you the courage? Without any further words, the enraged Zapdos attacked. It raised its neck high and let out a deafening roar. Suddenly, the sky above its head changed dramatically. The clear blue sky vanished, and a massive dark cloud instantly enveloped Zapdos. Crackling and popping, countless bolts of electricity crackled and leaped within the cloud. Pikachu, what the hell? What's going on? Mu Chen, who was frantically running, was dumbfounded. What the hell? Why did the weather change so suddenly? Could Zapdos have caused this? Holy crap. This is too much? Dude. This isn't for you. With your skills, what are you doing at this power plant? Go to Hollywood. Those special effects blockbusters are your stage. But Zapdos didn't care what this yellow-skinned rat thought. Feeling its dignity trampled, Zapdos only wanted to use its strongest attack to finish off this annoying yellow-skinned rat. It wanted to tell everyone that the dignity of a legendary Pokémon isn't something to be trampled on so easily. Boom. 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 Finally, the lightning brewing in the clouds began to fall. A tremendous roar resounded. After countless bolts of lightning struck, the entire unmanned power plant seemed to be illuminated. Looking at this scene that resembled divine punishment, Mu Chen had given up on dodging. Damn it. Hundreds of lightning bolts were striking down. Where the hell could I run? At this moment, Mu Chen was prepared to die a glorious death. Ash. I've treated you well. Misty. You wait, I'll definitely be reborn as a human in my next life. I'm going to take you down. As the lightning struck, this was the only thought remaining in Mu Chen's mind. Pikachu. At this moment, Ash and Misty, who were watching the battle, were already in tears. Is this the power of a legendary Pokémon? For the first time, Ash regretted his ignorance. Chapter 142 Special Feature, Lightning Rod. Whoa, boom, 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 thunder and lightning roared, and the divine bird howled. Beneath the dark cloud summoned by SYNOPSIS, a golden figure, like a nimble sprite, darted through the thunder and lightning. This was our protagonist, Mu Chen. At this moment, Mu Chen felt no fear whatsoever. Pikachu, trash. Come on. Anti-cat despicable. Let the storm rage even more fiercely. Previously, when SYNOPSIS unleashed this powerful attack, Mu Chen was indeed terrified. But just as the thunderous attack landed, Mu Chen suddenly noticed something different. Holy crap! What's going on? The lighting effects are perfect, but the actual damage is zero? Although Mu Chen is an electric-type Pokémon, possessing great resistance to electric-type moves, there is an absolute limit. When this limit is exceeded, Mu Chen is unable to withstand the attack of electric-type moves. Now, just watching SYNOPSIS unleash its powerful attack, Mu Chen knew he absolutely couldn't withstand it. But to his surprise, when the lightning struck, he found himself completely unharmed. Annihilate. After a brief moment of astonishment, Mu Chen suddenly remembered. Looks like I drew an ability from an unknown reward before, right? That lightning rod thing. Initially, Mu Chen thought it was a completely useless, trash ability, but unexpectedly. This is a bug. SYNOPSIS, such a powerful creature, even used its ultimate move, thunder. And yet, I'm completely unharmed? Ha ha ha. What's there to be afraid of? After discovering that thunder was ineffective against him, Mu Chen immediately perked up. Damn it. I'm not afraid of your thunder, what else is there to say? So what if you're a legendary Pokémon? I'll beat you up, Pikachu. After constantly dodging and weaving, Mu Chen finally caught an opening in SYNOPSIS' attack. Charge up, here we go. As for why he dodged the lightning that wouldn't harm him, there was no other way. A passive skill like Charge Up couldn't be interrupted while in use. Against a legendary Pokémon like SYNOPSIS, even though he was immune to electric-type attacks, Mu Chen dared not be careless in the slightest. Zzz. Finally, the charge was complete, and sparks of electricity began to leap on Mu Chen's cheeks. SYNOPSIS? HMPH. Taste my thunderbolt. Here we go. Being able to battle a legendary Pokémon and even being able to counterattack under the attack of a legendary Pokémon's ultimate move, Mu Chen was already in a state of high excitement. While Mu Chen was excited, Ash and Misty were stunned by what they were seeing. Having witnessed SYNOPSIS' terrifying attack, which was like divine punishment, the two had been completely terrified and had already burst into tears for Pikachu. Unexpectedly, after a spectacular lightning strike, Pikachu emerged unscathed. In fact, the little guy even launched a counterattack against SYNOPSIS. This completely shattered SYNOPSIS' understanding of Pokémon. Good heavens! How could this be? Ha ha ha! Pikachu! Well done! I knew you could do it. Charge! Use Thunderbolt to bring SYNOPSIS down. Pikachu, do your best. We must defeat it. And then capture it, unlike SYNOPSIS' shock. Ash, after a brief moment of astonishment, quickly recovered from his previous state of despair and frustration. Now, his eyes were filled with a burning passion of battle. In Ash's mind, if his Pikachu could counterattack SYNOPSIS, then it had a chance of defeating it. If they could really capture SYNOPSIS, Professor Oak would probably be astonished. Ash, standing beside Ash, Misty nearly fainted from anger upon hearing his nonsensical command. Can't you use your brain? It's a miracle Pikachu can even launch a counterattack. What are you talking about? Catching SYNOPSIS, Pikachu. Fortunately, the thunderous roar kept Mu Chen focused on the battle, preventing him from hearing Ash's idiotic command. Otherwise, Mu Chen couldn't guarantee that this 100,000-volt attack wouldn't have changed its target. Whoa! A painful cry came from SYNOPSIS in midair. SYNOPSIS had been wondering why its powerful attack had left the yellow-skinned rat unharmed. But before it could figure it out, a fist-thick bolt of electricity shot towards it. In the thunderous arena, Zapdos didn't even have time to react before receiving Mu Chen's deeply affectionate 100,000 volt attack. While a single 100,000 volt attack wouldn't inflict much physical damage on Zapdos, the psychological damage was immeasurable. Previously, even Grimer, the leader of the unmanned power plant, was utterly helpless against Zapdos. Now, this intruder, a mere common yellow-skinned rat, had actually retaliated after ignoring its attack? This truly astonished Zapdos. What the hell was that? Was it really Pikachu? Could it be some being of equal power in disguise? At this moment, Zapdos was filled with uncertain hesitation. In its hundreds of years of bird life, Zapdos swore it had never encountered anything like this before. Pika, Mu Chen, of course, was unaware of Zapdos' inner turmoil. Seeing that his recharged 100,000 volt attack had only elicited a weak cry from Zapdos, Mu Chen's fighting spirit vanished once more. Damn it! This is definitely not on the same level. This is a fully charged 100,000 volts. Even Grimer would scream if it got shocked. This is nothing, how can I possibly compete? Clearly, Mu Chen had forgotten that while Zapdos' flying type is weak to electric, it also has another type, electric, which provides extremely strong resistance to electric-type moves. Whoa! After a brief moment of astonishment, Zapdos roared again. Its dignity had been repeatedly provoked and trampled upon by this yellow-skinned rat, and Zapdos was furious. One thunderbolt and you're knocked down? Fine, I'll do it again. Due to its lack of experience, and because it had never encountered a situation where a non-ground type was immune to its thunderbolt attack, the enraged Zapdos had reached a dead end. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 The Grief-Stricken Zapdos. If one lightning strike doesn't take you down, then it's definitely not powerful enough. One strike isn't enough, then two aren't enough, then three. Zapdos was confident that under its lightning barrage, no enemy could withstand such a divine punishment-like attack. With this incredibly stubborn spirit of enduring, Zapdos, hovering in midair, continuously flapped its wings, thunder rumbled, and dark clouds gathered overhead. Ash! Pikachu can't hold out for long. Let's take advantage of Pikachu's stalling and quickly contact Officer Jenny. After seeing Zapdos unleash such astonishing power, Misty became worried again. Even if Pikachu could hold out for a while, could it continue to withstand Zapdos' powerful attacks? Misty had serious doubts. Therefore, after seeing that Pikachu could temporarily hold off Zapdos, Misty's first thought was to ask Officer Jenny for help. The reason why the unmanned power plant couldn't send electricity to Black Cloud City had been found. This Zapdos was simply not something they could handle. It's okay. I believe in Pikachu, it will definitely win. Ash's attention was completely focused on the battle between Pikachu and Zapdos ahead. He completely ignored Misty's advice. Ask for help? Ask for what help? My Pikachu can definitely defeat Zapdos. Ash. You're driving me crazy. Give me the communicator, I'm going to ask Officer Jenny for help. Seeing Ash enter his overconfident state again, Misty felt that if she continued talking to him, she would definitely lose 10 years of her life. Ignoring Ash's reaction, the furious Misty snatched the communicator from his hand and ran away. There was no other way, with Zapdos' thunder attack interfering, the communicator, which relied on electromagnetic communication, was completely unusable. Therefore, Misty could only choose to take the communicator far away from the battle site to have a chance to ask Officer Jenny for help. Boom. 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 Mu Chen, of course, was unaware of Ash and Misty's actions. After Zapdos unleashed its power, the intensity of the lightning strikes far surpassed what it had been before. However, Mu Chen remained completely unfazed. Pikachu, come on. Come on. Go ahead and shock me all you want. I can't shock you, and I'm not afraid of you either. Shock me. If I can't kill you, I'll exhaust you to death. After realizing that his attacks were basically ineffective, Mu Chen abandoned the idea of defense and counterattack. Whatever, I'm not afraid anyway. Using such powerful moves continuously, even if you're a legendary Pokémon, so what? Your stamina still needs to be continuously depleted, and your internal energy still needs to be continuously activated. HMPH. I don't believe that your internal energy is inexhaustible. With this mindset, Mu Chen was unusually calm as he bathed in the thunderstorm. It seemed that those so-called tribulations of power were nothing more than this, right? Whoa, above the thunder clouds, Zapdos naturally couldn't see Pikachu's current situation. Under the dense thunder clouds, the area where Pikachu stood was now completely filled with thunder and rain. The sky was filled with lightning and countless sparks, creating a beautiful scene. Finally, the roaring sounds gradually subsided, and the thunder attack unleashed by Zapdos in its rage began to dissipate. Damn! This bird is exhausted. You yellow-skinned rat, let's see if you survive this time. In Zapdos's understanding, apart from beings of its own level, absolutely no Pokémon in this world could withstand its furious thunder attacks for so long. At first, the lightning couldn't overpower Pikachu, which was simply because the creature was too agile and Zapdos's lightning density wasn't high enough. Now, the entire area was filled with lightning. Where could Pikachu hide? Zapdos couldn't see the exact spot where the lightning struck, but it could see the outer edges. Zapdos, constantly watching the edge of the lightning strikes, hadn't seen the yellow-skinned rat fleeing through the lightning. That's why Zapdos was absolutely certain that the yellow-skinned rat that dared to challenge its dignity was now nothing but charred remains. Pikachu, damn it! I haven't even ascended yet, why did you stop? The thunderous roar gradually subsided, and Mu Chen's arrogant cry could once again echo from the lightning-strewn area. Whoa, how could this be? Zapdos, who had been so smug and didn't even bother to observe, almost forgot to flap its wings after hearing this piercing cry, nearly falling from the sky. Damn it! Are you really that yellow-skinned rat, Pikachu? This round of thunderous attacks scared even myself. And you're acting like nothing happened, even striking a pose down there? Seeing Pikachu waving its little fists defiantly after the lightning dissipated, Zapdos felt its heart break. This had completely shattered its worldview. Pikachu! Zapdos is done for, it's time for us to counterattack. Ash, who had been watching the battle closely, was the most excited. Seeing that Zapdos's attack had stopped and Pikachu hadn't suffered any damage, Ash immediately gave the command to counterattack. Now that Zapdos's attack was over, it was time for us to launch a counterattack. Pika! As the thunder subsided, Mu Chen could naturally hear Ash's idiotic shout. When he heard Ash's battle command, he looked over speechlessly. What the hell is wrong with your eyes? Don't you see the difference in strength between us? After that thunderbolt charge attack, Mu Chen had long lost the desire to continue attacking Zapdos. Damn it, even if I were to die from exhaustion, this thing would only lose a feather or two at most. Whoa, however, something shocking happened to Mu Chen. He ignored Ash's idiotic command. Zapdos couldn't do it. He unleashed a barrage of powerful attacks, and Pikachu hadn't even lost a single feather. But when Pikachu retaliated earlier, Zapdos had genuinely felt the pain. Although the pain wasn't intense, Zapdos wasn't sure if this was Pikachu's limit. This thing could ignore his powerful attacks. Who knew what kind of earth-shattering skill it possessed? Therefore, upon hearing Ash's command for Pikachu to counterattack, Zapdos flapped its wings with a look of grief and indignation, and flew far away from this place of sorrow. I just wanted to absorb some electricity, is that so hard for me? Chapter 144 New Rewards. Pikachu! Quick! Use Thunderbolt. We can't let it get away. Seeing Zapdos preparing to take flight, Ash panicked. This was a legendary Pokémon. How many people spend their entire lives without ever seeing such a legendary creature? If he missed this opportunity, Ash didn't know if he'd ever have another chance like this. Therefore, after seeing Zapdos scared off by Pikachu, he immediately gave the command for Pikachu to attack. Pika, what the hell? Speak human language? Go use Thunderbolt yourself, I'm not serving you anymore. Just kidding, being able to scare Zapdos away was already Mu Chen's limit. Ash, that idiot, couldn't see that, but Mu Chen, as the person involved, didn't know? With its charge skill on cooldown, if it dared to fight back now, Zapdos would definitely find itself a weakling with a strong exterior but a weak interior. You have to understand, Zapdos is a legendary flying electric-type Pokémon. Who knows if this thing only knows electric-type moves? I may be immune to electric-type attacks, but I'm not immune to flying-type attacks. Look at those sharp wings, look at that sharp beak. Even without some awesome special move, just one of those flying-type moves and I'd be dead. Therefore, all Mu Chen could do at that moment was adopt a haughty, invincible stance and watch Zapdos depart. Go quickly, don't let it become clear that this is our farewell, never to meet again. Finally, under Mu Chen's deeply affectionate gaze, the grief-stricken Zapdos gradually disappeared into the horizon. Ash, Officer Jenny and the others are on their way. Is Pikachu alright? What about Zapdos? Just then, Misty, who had left to contact Officer Jenny, rushed back. She had originally planned to tell Ash that Officer Jenny and the others were on their way. She had come back to fight alongside Pikachu because she was worried about him. But when Zyuoxia rushed back and saw the scene before her, she was completely stunned. What happened? Why was Pikachu standing alone in the distance, striking a pose and gazing into the distance? Why did Ash look so helpless and frustrated? Why? Zapdos was gone? At that moment, Zyuoxia's pretty face, flushed from running so much, was filled with question marks. Oh dear. What a pity. Zapdos has escaped. Only after Zyuoxia's question did Ash realize that someone had appeared beside him. Escaped? How is that possible? Could there be some powerful being in this abandoned power plant? Hearing Ash say this, Zyuoxia immediately tense up. Good heavens. What kind of auspicious place is this abandoned power plant? First, there was the giant Grimer, then the legendary Pokémon Zapdos. Now, could there be something that could defeat Zapdos? What powerful being? Misty, did you run around and mess with your brain? Zapdos ran away because it couldn't beat Pikachu. Hearing Misty's question, Ash was also bewildered. What kind of nonsense was this? Didn't you see Zapdos was scared away by Pikachu? Having finally encountered such a legendary Pokémon, but not having the chance to capture it, Ash was filled with frustration. Why didn't Pikachu attack when Zapdos ran away? That's it. It must be because it had used up too much energy. During Zapdos's lightning attacks, Ash, watching from the sidelines, couldn't get a clear picture of the battle. Therefore, in Ash's mind, Pikachu and Zapdos must have been constantly battling during the lightning attacks, and finally, Pikachu's overwhelming strength successfully intimidated this legendary Pokémon. But alas, Pikachu's strength was still slightly insufficient. If it were stronger, perhaps he really would have a chance to capture Zapdos. Of course, Misty was unaware of Ash's inner thoughts at that moment. What did you say? Zapdos was chased away by Pikachu. Hearing Ash's words, Misty was shocked. What nonsense was this kid spouting? Pikachu could defeat the legendary Zapdos? Was that even possible? But then the question arose, if that wasn't the case, where did Zapdos go? At this moment, Misty was bewildered. Could it be, as this idiot said, that Zapdos was indeed chased away by Pikachu? Pikachu, Mu Chen, of course, hadn't heard the conversation between Ash and Misty. After striking a pose for a while, seeing that Zapdos had completely disappeared into the sky, Mu Chen's heart finally settled down. System, damn it, I've completed the mission, right? If something of Zapdos's caliber wasn't that unknown Pokémon, Mu Chen would have truly collapsed. Fortunately, this time the system didn't continue to tease him. Ding ding, mission complete, reward issued, yay. Hearing the cold, electronic voice of the system in his mind, Mu Chen was so excited he almost did a front flip. Finally, he completed this damn mission. Did you know how hard it was for me? He knew his own situation best. Without the lightning rod ability, Mu Chen wouldn't have been able to scare away Zapdos. He'd probably have been electrocuted to death by the first round of lightning attacks. That's why he was so excited after confirming Zapdos's departure and the completion of the system mission. Come on. Spin the cute little wheel. What's Dynamax? What the hell is this? Looking at the big spinning wheel in his mind, Mu Chen was a little confused. Dynamax was still there, no problem. Random moves and base stats were also there, no problem there either. But what the hell was this last thing? The ability was gone, and this new thing was just a question mark? Holy crap. A question mark? Are you telling me to guess it myself? Mu Chen expressed strong indignation at the system's heinous behavior. However, the system suddenly became aloof, offering no response to Mu Chen's protests. Finally, left with no other choice, Mu Chen could only follow the system's prompts and spin the wheel in his mind. Damn it. Come on. If you're so tough, just give me a question mark. I don't even want Dynamax anymore, I just want to see what this question mark is. At this moment, Mu Chen's stubbornness flared up. Suddenly presented with a question mark, it would be a lie to say he wasn't curious. Finally, as the wheel's pointer gradually stopped spinning, Mu Chen's eyes widened even further. Chapter 145 Groundhog. Thank you so much for restoring power to Black Cloud City. Ash and Misty left Black Cloud City amidst a warm farewell from Officer Jenny and the city's electricians, continuing their journey to challenge the gym. As for the issue of Officer Jenny not finding the supposed Zapdos after arriving at the abandoned power plant, in her opinion, that wasn't a problem at all. Legendary Pokémon aren't so easy to find. She figured these two young trainers were just being naive, mistaking some other Pokémon for Zapdos. Now, through Ash and Misty's investigation, Black Cloud City had figured out the reason for the power outage. The giant Grimer was naturally being handled by professionals dispatched by the League. These things didn't need Ash and Misty's concern. Therefore, after successfully completing their mission, Ash and Misty left this place that had left such a deep impression on them, carrying with them the gratitude of Black Cloud City. Xiaoxia, following Officer Jenny's directions, will cross this canyon and then take the underground passage to reach Fuchsia City, Ash exclaimed excitedly, looking at the map in his hand. Fuchsia City. There's a gym there. Once we get there, he can get another badge. Ash, slow down. Xiaoxia completely understood Ash's excitement, but was the rush really necessary? Even resting for a day in Black Cloud City would be great. Xiaoxia could only admire Ash's seemingly perpetual motion machine-like stamina. Pikachu, Mu Chen had absolutely no interest in Ash and Xiaoxia's conversation. Right now, he was nestled in Xiaoxia's arms, studying the prize offered by the spinning wheel. This time, the spinning wheel was surprisingly generous, giving Mu Chen the question mark reward he wanted, just as he had hoped. However, when the reward was placed before Mu Chen, the question mark shifted to his face. What the hell is this? Staring at the golden sphere before him, Mu Chen was utterly bewildered. An electric ball? What the hell am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to just swallow it whole? And why the hell did you have to add fake to it? Are you mocking me? Mu Chen felt like a million grass mud horses were stampeding through his mind regarding this thing. Damn it. Looking at the description, it was indeed a good item. It could enhance special attacks when carried, and it was even Pikachu's exclusive carried item. But, with a fake label, it lost its appeal. Damn it, Mu Chen had seen what a genuine electric ball looked like, and he didn't even know what it looked like. But this fake one could only be used in one battle? This was unacceptable to Mu Chen. Damn it, this was a super difficult Zapdos quest. And you gave me a disposable item? Unfortunately, he couldn't fight City Hall, the reward had already been given out, and Mu Chen could only silently stare at the ball in his mind. Fine, it's still something that significantly enhances my strength, I'll keep it as a trump card. Helpless, Mu Chen could only console himself with this thought. Trainer. Young trainer. Please wait. Just as Ash and Misty were about to continue their journey through the tunnel after rounding a bend, a middle-aged man wearing a helmet suddenly rushed over. Uncle, are you having some trouble? Knowing Ash's personality, he would definitely rush over to find out what was going on. Trainer. It's like this. I'm building a hot spring resort nearby, but because of a large number of Diglett around, my resort is delayed. If you can help me get rid of these troublesome Diglett, I can give you a free trial voucher for my resort as a token of my gratitude. The reason he stopped Ash and Misty was because he saw the Pikachu in Misty's arms. Regardless of its combat power, it at least proved that these two young men were Pokémon trainers. Anyway, the middle-aged man's promise to them was that he would only thank them after chasing away the Diglett. It was basically a risk-free deal. Therefore, the middle-aged man didn't care at all whether Ash and Misty were strong enough to defeat those Diglett. Ha ha ha. Okay. No problem, Uncle, you're too kind. But, where are those Diglett you mentioned? I haven't seen them. Being called a trainer and even being asked for help was something that made Ash very happy. As for the free experience voucher for the hot spring resort, Ash didn't care at all. Pikachu, Ash didn't care, but Mu Chen immediately perked up its pointed ears upon hearing this. What? Hot springs? Holy crap. I love this. Thinking of hot springs, Mu Chen naturally recalled its previous temple fair trip. Last time its nose didn't cooperate, but this time, it absolutely couldn't miss this rare opportunity. That's great. Trainer, please come with me. Those annoying Digletts are active near my resort. Because of their constant burrowing, I haven't been able to reinforce the foundation of my resort. The middle-aged man was naturally thrilled to have found two more trainers willing to do the hard work. Why again? Gray, Ash. As Ash and Misty followed the middle-aged man up the mountain path, Someone Ash never expected appeared before him. This person was none other than Ash's rival, Professor Oak's grandson, Gray. Haha. Ash, are you here to get rid of Diglets too? I advise you to go back. This kind of high-difficulty technical work isn't suitable for a greenhorn like you. Seeing Ash and the middle-aged man together, Gray naturally guessed the reason. What a joke. Diglett is a ground-type Pokémon. Even if Ash's Pikachu has super strong combat power, an electric-type Pokémon is no match for a ground-type Diglett. Having suffered repeated defeats at the hands of Pikachu, Gary had changed his strategy. I won't challenge you to a battle, we'll crush Ash from other angles. Won't that achieve the same result? HMPH. Gary, are you kidding me? A mere Diglett, how could it possibly stump me? Ash never admitted defeat to Gary. Pikachu, Mu Chen had absolutely no interest in the bickering of these two idiots. At this moment, his gaze was already fixed on the young lady sitting on the edge of Gary's convertible. Chapter 146 The Duel with Shigeru. Trainers. I thank you all once again for taking time out of your busy schedules to help me get rid of the Diglett. Those are the ones you need to eliminate. If you can help me drive away or kill all those pesky Diglett, I'll treat you to a free day at my hot spring resort. Although my resort isn't officially open yet, all the facilities are complete and I'm sure you'll be satisfied. The middle-aged man didn't care about Ash and Gary's feud. Once he confirmed that he had gathered enough trainers, he immediately led Ash and his group to the vicinity of the resort, where the Diglett were rampant. To successfully eliminate these Diglett, this middle-aged man certainly wouldn't rely solely on Ash and Misty. At this moment, there were more than a dozen trainers behind him. Of course, the vast majority of them were new trainers like Ash, who had only recently embarked on their journey. Ha ha ha. Just a few Diglets, my Ivysaur will take care of them. HMPH. Is Ivysaur that powerful? To beat Diglett, you'll have to rely on our young master Gary's Wartortle. This was a dispute between a trainer with an Ivysaur and Gary's cheerleaders. Just as their argument was about to escalate, Ash decisively drew the attention. Uncle, don't worry, with my Pikachu here, even legendary Pokémon can be driven away, let alone Diglett. This statement itself wasn't anything special. Ash was telling the truth. However, to the others, it sounded incredibly arrogant. Pikachu? A common yellow rat? Could it drive away a legendary Pokémon? This kid must be dreaming. Haha. Since everyone has such confidence, I'm truly relieved. This is all yours to handle. The middle-aged man ignored the argument between these youngsters. Who cares who's stronger? Driving away the Diglett is the real priority. After a few perfunctory words, the middle-aged man turned and left. He was joking, hundreds, even thousands of Diglets. Who knew if these dozen or so trainers could handle them? If they could, great, but what if they couldn't, and instead angered the Diglett army? The middle-aged man declared he would absolutely not share the burden with these young punks. Ash, you're incredibly arrogant. I admit, your Pikachu is indeed quite powerful, but that's all. Drive away a legendary Pokémon? How dare you even say that? I'm not going to waste my breath on you. How about a duel? After the middle-aged man left, Gary immediately launched an attack on Ash. This kid, just because he won 2 matches against him, had become so ignorant of his place. Gary couldn't speak for everything else, but when it came to fighting Diglett, he considered Wartortle to be the most capable. Diglett's type was simply ground. Facing the water-type Wartortle, it was utterly powerless. As for Ash's Pikachu? Electric type meets ground type, haha. Who's arrogant? I'm just telling the truth. Let's compete, tell me, what are you betting on? Ash was completely unacceptable, having only received contemptuous looks in return for his words. Ha ha ha. Alright. Let's compete today to see who defeats more Diglett. Each of you will send 2 or 3 Pokémon. Are you up for it? If anyone loses, regardless of whether all the Diglett are wiped out, they will have to leave this place and won't get to enjoy the free hospitality at the hot spring resort. The boys' bet wouldn't be too serious. In Xiaomao's opinion, defeating Ash and humiliating him was enough. But Pikachu, what the hell? What's going on? I'm being shot even though I'm just lying here? This kind of bet might be insignificant to others, but for Mu Chen, it was a fatal blow. You see, when Mu Chen saw the row of beautiful girls in Xiaomao's convertible, he was already in a daze. Just imagine, swimming in a warm hot spring with so many beautiful girls. What a beautiful picture. However, this idiot Xiaomao actually proposed such a bet? This is unbelievable. I can't accept it no matter who wins or loses. Okay. It's decided. ZI was naturally unaware of Mu Chen's objection. Hearing that Xiaomao's request was reasonable, Mu Chen accepted it without hesitation. PFFT, like a sharp arrow. When Mu Chen heard that Xiaozi accepted Xiaomao's bet without hesitation, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. Xiaozi, give me back my girls. Come out. Wartortle. EV. And you, Nidoking, seeing that this idiot Xiaozi accepted his bet, Xiaomao's lips curled into a smug smile. Ha ha ha. This idiot. Young master, would I be unprepared? This Nidoking is a powerful Pokemon that Gary just acquired. With its Earthquake ability, combined with Eevee's Dig, it's incredibly powerful against those Diglett. Plus, Wartortle has a natural type advantage. Gary has no reason to lose. Wow. Nidoking? Wartortle? This trainer is amazing. Go Gary. Go Gary. Amidst the shocked gazes of other trainers and the cheers of his own supporters, Gary resembled a victorious general. What? I thought you were so great. Curlia, come out. Melodic, I choose you. And finally, Pikachu, charge. Even with his deep knowledge, Ash remained unfazed upon seeing Gary's Nidoking. So you think you're the only powerful Pokemon? I, Ash, am no weakling either. Wow. This trainer is amazing, unbelievable, truly unbelievable. He actually has rare Curlia and Melodic. Yeah, when I saw he only had a Pikachu, I thought he was just there to make up the numbers. The appearance of Melodic and Curlia instantly boosted everyone's impression of Ash. Ash, you really are. At this moment, only Misty remained on Mu Chen's side. Seeing that this guy accepted this contract without even asking her opinion, Misty was speechless. This young lady also really wanted to soak in a hot spring, okay? Let's battle. Staryu, Starmie, and Psyduck. For the sake of a warm hot spring, Misty naturally wouldn't stand idly by. However, the Goldeen Misty ultimately wanted to summon turned into the Psyduck that volunteered to battle. Chapter 147 Whack-a-Mole. Doo-doo-doo, the duel between the boys was meaningless to the Diglett army. At this moment, the Diglett army had already formed ranks, ready to meet the trainer's impending attack. Fight. Drive these Diglett away, go, my partner. Bulbasaur, use Vine Whip. Eevee, use Dig. Wartortle, use Water Gun on the burrow Eevee dug. Finally, Nidoking, my powerful partner, charge. Go to the area with the highest concentration of Diglett and use Earthquake. Having reached the Diglett army, these trainers, determined to drive them away, naturally wouldn't hold back. A free day at the hot spring resort was a very attractive offer for them. We can't fall behind. Melodic, use Water Pulse. Curlia, use Psychic to drive the Diglett out of their burrows. Pikachu, use Charge, then combine Melodic's Water Pulse with Thunderbolt. Seeing that Gary had already made his move, Ash naturally didn't hesitate. I know, Lilu, Melodic and Curlia didn't hesitate at all in response to Ash's command. But Pika, what the hell? You want me to use Thunderbolt to play Whack-a-Mole? While using electric-type moves within the Water Pulse area can indeed cause some damage to these Diglets, the effect is negligible due to the absolute type advantage. Ash is an idiot who blindly believes in Pikachu's powerful Thunderbolt, but Mu Chen isn't that idiotic. This kind of thankless task, you can do it if you want, I'm not doing it. Ignoring Ash's command, Mu Chen used Quick Attack on the Diglets at the edge of the area. Just kidding, playing Whack-a-Mole is naturally done with Iron Tail. Diglett Pokemon generally just peek out from their burrows, and their attacks rely on suddenly emerging from the burrow beneath their opponent's feet to attack with the Dig move. Mu Chen's plan was to use Iron Tail to take them down one by one. How safe and comfortable would that be? Thunderbolt? Hell, everyone's moving, let's not fall behind. Let's fight. Starmie, use Water Gun. Psyduck, can you use Water Gun? If you can, go ahead and use it. The trainers had already made their moves, so Zylox naturally wouldn't just stand by and watch. But this Psyduck once again left Zylox speechless. I haven't even given you an attack command yet, why is your head hurting again? If it hurts, fine, but why use Psychic? Psyduck is also a water-type Pokemon, and Zylox originally wanted it to use Water Gun as well. Unfortunately, this guy just wouldn't cooperate. Zylox had completely given up on Psyduck. Doo-doo-doo, while Diglett's individual strength is rather weak, when their numbers gather to a certain extent, they can still cause very powerful destruction. Faced with the attacks of the trainers, the Diglett army launched a counterattack without flinching. This was their home, and driving them away wouldn't be so easy. Pikachu, there were more than 10 trainers participating in the battle, and dozens of Pokémon in total. With so many helpers, Mu Chen naturally didn't feel much pressure. Because there were no system tasks, he was currently enjoying a very comfortable time. Snap! 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 With Iron Tail constantly activated, Mu Chen started playing by himself. I'll let you show your face, watch my Iron Tail. Again? I'll whack. Relying on his agile movements, Mu Chen constantly moved around the edges of the Diglett army. With Iron Tail constantly used, it was as if he had played a small game called Whack-A-Mole in his previous life. He was completely in the zone. Beep beep, random mission activated. Team Rocket attack. Mission requirements, young man, having fun playing with Diglett, huh? But this is just the appetizer. A new wave of Team Rocket attacks is coming soon, so be prepared. Mission reward, randomly increase 5-10 base stats. Failure penalty, randomly lose Melodic, Curlia, or Misty. What? Just as Mu Chen was having a great time, the system's electronic voice sounded in his mind again. Hearing the system's electronic voice, Mu Chen was immediately stunned. What's going on? He wasn't surprised by random missions, but this random mission had nothing to do with the Diglett in front of him, but was about defending against Team Rocket's attack? Hadn't those three learned their lesson? And this failure penalty was so severe? When Mu Chen heard the failure penalty in the last item of the system mission, he realized that things seemed to be in big trouble. Lose Melodic, Curlia, and even Misty? Are those three useless trio really that strong? After numerous battles, Mu Chen had gained a sufficient understanding of the strength of Jesse's trio. They were more likely to annoy him, but it was highly improbable that they could steal Melodic or Curlia right under his nose. And what about Misty? What was going on? Having received this system mission, Mu Chen had lost all interest in playing Whack-A-Mole. However, Mu Chen was unaware that this time, his opponents weren't Jesse's trio. Amadori, what do you think? When should we make our move? Kazaburo, what's the rush? Let's wait. Didn't you see so many trainers gathered together? Those Diglets are no match for them. After the Diglets disperse, those people will definitely be enjoying themselves at that hot spring resort. That will be the best opportunity for us to strike. In a mountain hollow, another Team Rocket pair, Amadori and Kazaburo, were lying in ambush. Having received orders from Team Rocket leader Giovanni, the two had specifically returned from the Johto region to capture the Pikachu that used Iron Tail to whack Diglett. Although Yamato and Kazaburo didn't understand why a mere Pikachu would so captivate Giovanni, an order was an order. As Team Rocket's most successful mission team, Yamato and Kazaburo weren't as foolish as Jessie and her two idiots. At this moment, Yamato and Kazaburo were already prepared for an ambush, waiting to launch a thunderous attack when Pikachu was most careless. Of course, Yamato and Kazaburo were unaware of this. With the system's help, Mu Chen was already on guard. Team Rocket? HMPH, if you dare come, I dare launch another whirlwind attack on you. Chapter 148 Best Women of the Year, Zyozhi. Gurgle gurgle. Although the Diglett army was considerable in number, its combat strength was simply too weak. With the combined efforts of many trainers, the Diglett army gradually succumbed and began to retreat towards the distant mountains. You guys are awesome. We can move now, okay, ha ha ha. Victory, great. The Diglett retreated, we won. Hooray, we finally won. Seeing the Diglett army retreat, the trainers immediately celebrated. The Diglett had retreated, so their efforts today weren't in vain. They could enjoy a free day at the hot spring resort. This battle was definitely worthwhile. Ash. I won. I definitely defeated more Diglett than you. Unlike the others who were celebrating, Gary was still concerned about his previous promise to Ash. Who said that? I won, okay? Didn't you see how many Diglett Melodic defeated? At this moment, the two realized an awkward problem. With so many Diglett focused on commanding the battle, who could remember exactly how many Diglett each person defeated? Damn it. Let's call it a draw today. With the argument proving fruitless, Gary and Ash could only resort to this relatively peaceful method to resolve the issue. To be honest, these two were childhood playmates. It was just that the vast difference in their family backgrounds led to this class conflict. Pikachu, naturally, the happiest person about this outcome was Mu Chen. After hearing the system mission, Mu Chen completely entered slacking off mode. However, even after the Diglett army was defeated, he didn't see a trace of Team Rocket. In the end, Mu Chen could only conclude that Team Rocket's surprise attack wouldn't be happening now. Anyway, I already know these guys are coming, so I'll just be prepared. With this confidence, Mu Chen stopped worrying about Team Rocket. There was no way around it. Team Rocket's poor performance in battle didn't pose much of a threat to Mu Chen. Moreover, this time the system reward was only the lowest level base stat, which made Mu Chen even more dismissive. Because of this, with his worries gone, Mu Chen once again entered little fanboy mode. When he confirmed that Xiaomao would also be staying to enjoy the hot springs, he became excited. So many beautiful girls. Ha ha ha. Trainers, thank you so much. Without your help, I really wouldn't know what to do. Now, please experience my hot spring resort. Of course, Mu Chen wasn't the only one happy. The middle-aged man who had been watching from a distance was also thrilled after seeing the Diglett retreat. With a Diglett gun, his hot spring resort could officially open for business. For a businessman, what could be more important than this? Ha ha ha. Uncle, then I'm sorry. Seeing that the middle-aged man kept his promise, the trainer's last bit of worry dissipated. Next, of course, was to enjoy the hot springs. Night. As Mu Chen eagerly awaited, night finally fell. Pikachu? You want to come with me to the hot springs? No way. Go with Ash. After a delicious meal, just as Xiaoxia changed into her kimono and prepared to head to the hot springs, she saw Pikachu appear before her. Looking at the little rascal's expectant eyes, Xiaoxia felt a chill run down her spine. This little guy. He's definitely up to no good. Remembering Pikachu's previous actions, Xiaoxia instinctively refused his shameless request. Hot springs? I'm not going. I want to watch the Pokémon battles. I haven't watched TV in ages. And today there's a rare exhibition match with Lance. Xiaoxia, you take Pikachu with you. Seeing Xiaoxia's resolute expression, Mu Chen was getting anxious. But unexpectedly, Ash unexpectedly provided a divine assist. Ash. Oh dear. Okay. But Pikachu, I'm warning you, don't embarrass me. Xiaoxia vividly remembered Pikachu's infamous history. She didn't want her pleasant hot spring trip to turn into another nosebleed. Pika, don't worry. I'm well prepared this time. Hearing Xiaoxia say this, Mu Chen nodded repeatedly, assuring her. Just kidding. To properly appreciate this young lady, I specially concocted 2 nose plugs. With these stuffed in my nose, what accidents could possibly happen? Besides, this time, I'm traveling with you with a sacred purpose, Xiaoxia. Because of the system mission, Mu Chen knew that Xiaoxia might also encounter danger this time. So no matter what, he would never be separated from Xiaoxia. Xiaoxia, remember to go to the kitchen and get me 2 boxes of sushi when you come back. Ignoring Xiaoxia and Pikachu's little antics, Ash's attention was entirely focused on the Elite Four performance on TV. Okay. Got it. Xiaoxia was completely speechless at Ash. Pikachu, Ash. You're the best woman of the year. Unlike Misty, Mu Chen gave Ash full recognition for his performance today. Damn it, it's worth it for risking my life to save you so many times before. You finally delivered this time. Pikachu, I'm warning you, don't do anything reckless. Don't embarrass me. Reaching the edge of the hot spring, Misty warned Pikachu again. Pikachu, however, Mu Chen had already ignored Misty. Ladies. So many ladies. Mu Chen had been slightly worried that the ladies that Gary brought wouldn't come to the hot spring. Now, seeing these ladies indeed playing in the hot spring, Mu Chen's eyes turned bloodshot. These are all mature ladies. This lady looks familiar? That's right. This is the pink lady from before. And this one. White one. No. I need to investigate what that black spot on the white one was. Who said electric-type Pokémon can't dive? At this moment, Mu Chen transformed into a fish, darting through the hot spring. Pikachu, seeing Pikachu's antics, Xiaoxia could only helplessly rub her forehead. Others might not know what Pikachu was doing, but Xiaoxia certainly did. This little rascal. Relying on being a Pokémon and not arousing suspicion, he's getting more and more outrageous. You know, this is a hot spring, and those ladies are practically naked. Xiaoxia found herself utterly speechless at Pikachu's antics. However, The slight pang of sadness that welled up in Zyoksh's heart at Pikachu's antics was something she couldn't easily explain to outsiders. Chapter 149 Team Rocket, Amazon reports. As the saying goes, pain and pleasure coexist, and that perfectly describes our protagonist, Mu Chen. This guy has truly grasped the essence of that phrase. Pleasure? Naturally, it's being able to enjoy the beautiful scenery without any inhibitions. Xiaomao's cheerleading squad is currently frolicking in the hot spring, and when Mu Chen arrives, he's truly experiencing a king-level visual feast. Although Xiaoxia's presence prevents him from openly pouncing on her, the occasional unintentional touches during his swim are entirely his own fault. Similarly, because of Mu Chen's adorable appearance, none of the girls in the hot spring suspect him. They even playfully hug Pikachu when it swims towards them. How could Mu Chen not be happy? As for pain? Damn it. Why the hell am I not a water-type Pokémon? This is Mu Chen's biggest complaint at this moment. Because he was too focused and engrossed in his game, and because the nasal plugs were making it difficult for him to breathe, Mu Chen unfortunately drowned during an underwater adventure. Pikachu. You little rascal. You deserve it. You, looking at Pikachu in front of her, eyes rolled back and constantly spitting water, Zyoksia didn't know whether to be angry or amused. This little rascal. Really? How could Zyoksia not have noticed Pikachu's antics in the hot spring? However, since it was something she couldn't easily talk about, Zyoksia could only pretend to be innocent, completely ignoring Pikachu's opportunistic behavior. But she never expected this guy to be so embarrassing. Last time it was a nosebleed, this time he actually performed a Pokémon drowning act. Pika cough cough Pika, I didn't want to do this either. Hearing Zyokxia's scolding, Mu Chen felt even more heartbroken. Who the hell would have thought that after diving with nasal plugs, he would still choke on water? In his current state, going back was basically impossible. Helpless, Mu Chen could only bid a tearful farewell to the still-playing girls with immense regret. At this moment, the person Mu Chen hated most was that wasteful idiot, Xiaomao. Damn it, he always acts like a rich young master, not even utilizing the vast resources around him. It's infuriating. Boom. 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 Help, oh my god. What happened? I'm not dressed yet. However, just as Zyoksia, who had reached the shore and was about to leave, was scolding Pikachu, and just as Mu Chen was feeling annoyed, a violent explosion rang out behind him. The sudden explosion startled the girls in the hot spring, who cried out for help. Pikachu, holy crap. They're here. Hearing the explosion, Mu Chen knew immediately that this must be the system mission from before. Team Rocket had finally arrived. But Mu Chen had no time to pay attention to Team Rocket at this moment. Watching the young ladies scrambling out of the hot spring in a disheveled state, Mu Chen, who had already removed his nose plug, was once again embarrassed. Pikachu. What are you looking at? The sudden sticky sensation on his arm naturally startled Zyoksia. Zyoksia was already quite tense because of the sudden explosion. But who would have thought that Pikachu, that wretched little rascal, would actually... Pika, why the sudden, startled shout? Mu Chen was startled by Zyokxia's sudden scolding. What the hell is going on? Can't you see I'm busy? Huh? Wait, why does my face feel so wet? Suddenly, Mu Chen realized. It seems his nose is acting up again? Damn it. He's been caught again. After understanding, Mu Chen finally understood why Zyoksia was so furious. An accident. Completely an accident. My intention was to observe Team Rocket and prepare for a surprise attack. That's right. That's exactly it. Having found an excuse for his actions, Mu Chen firmly confirmed its validity. Ha ha ha. Little girl, quickly hand over that Pikachu in your arms, or don't blame me for being impolite. Just as Zyoksia was about to continue scolding Pikachu for its despicable behavior, a cold voice suddenly came from above. This was none other than Yamato, the female member of the Team Rocket duo. Who are you? Did you cause the explosion? Yamato's sudden appearance immediately made Zyoksia abandon her intention to scold Pikachu. Clearly, this suddenly appearing, alluring woman was definitely up to no good. Hey, who am I? You should be familiar with those trash like Jessie and Kojiro, right? That's right. I, Yamato, am also a member of Team Rocket, just like them. But, little girl, don't compare me, Yamato, to those trash like Jessie and her friends. Hearing Misty's question, Yamato revealed a cold smile. Pikachu, Team Rocket? Not Jessie and her friends anymore? A change of personnel? But this blonde lady seems pretty good too. The sudden appearance of Yamato not only surprised Misty, but also left Mu Chen, who was in her arms, completely astonished. Why the sudden change of personnel? Did that woman Jessie chicken out after my whirlwind attack? Although puzzled about the change, Mu Chen still showed great interest in the Yamato standing before him. This lady had golden curly hair, and her makeup was much more glamorous than Jessie's. She was also wearing a miniskirt, but her boots were white. Not bad, very good. That was Mu Chen's evaluation of Yamato. This newly appeared young lady was completely different from Jessie in style, but equally beautiful and charming, with the same graceful figure. That was enough. HMPH. Team Rocket? Damn it, it's you again. Starmie, come out. Use Psyduck? I didn't call you. Hearing Yamato announce itself, Misty immediately prepared for battle. This guy clearly wanted to steal Pikachu, and Misty certainly wouldn't give in. At this moment, Pikachu was in poor condition due to drowning, so Misty's first reaction was naturally to send Starmie into battle. But unexpectedly, just as Misty picked up Starmie's Pokeball, that silly Psyduck made a dazzling appearance again. Cool, right, ha ha ha. Is this a gem starfish? I've really learned something new. This is the first time I've heard of a gem starfish looking like this. Go, Radamanthes, use your ultimate incisor. Even the usually aloof Yamato couldn't help but burst into laughter upon seeing this adorable duck. Chapter 150 The Powerful Amazon. Cool, right, facing the Rattata summoned by Yamato, Psyduck showed full fighting spirit. Of course, this guy probably doesn't know the meaning of the word coward when facing any opponent. After letting out a cry, Psyduck ignored Misty's command behind it and launched a psychic attack on Rattata. Rattata, a mouse-like Pokémon, is everywhere, but its evolved form, Rattata, is still quite powerful. The Rattata summoned by Yamato is much larger than its kind, obviously very healthy. Facing the psychic attack from this fool Psyduck, Rattata completely ignored it, and after enduring the psychic attack, Rattata affectionately showed its two front teeth to Psyduck's smooth head. Cool, right, at this moment, Psyduck revealed its adorable nature. Bitten on the forehead by Rattata's sure-kill front teeth, Psyduck's eyes widened immediately, and it frantically started spinning around in circles with its head in its hands. Clearly, this guy was in a lot of pain. Ha ha ha. That's hilarious. Little girl, I'm giving you one last chance, hand over Pikachu. As the two battled, Shigeru's group of pretty faces had already taken the opportunity to retreat. Now, only Misty remained by the hot spring. Facing Misty, Yamato adopted a completely victorious posture, looking down at her condescendingly. Damn it. Don't even think about taking Pikachu. Let's fight, Starmie, use water gun. Psyduck's defeat was exactly what Misty expected. Her true mainstay was Starmie. Yamato was clearly trying to steal Pikachu, and Misty would never admit defeat. Although Pikachu often made Misty so angry she wanted to punch it, Pikachu held an unparalleled place in her heart. Oh? I didn't expect you to actually have Starmie. But so what? Rattata, use Sucker Punch. To Yamato, neither Psyduck nor Starmie were worth her attention. As the team with the highest success rate in Team Rocket's field operations, Yamato naturally had her own pride. Starmie's combat power was much higher than that clumsy Psyduck, but unfortunately, its opponent was too strong. Rattata. Starmie, seeing her most powerful Pokémon instantly defeated, Misty panicked. This Team Rocket member, Yamato, was this strong. Ha ha ha. How about it? Still want to fight back? Little girl, I'm warning you one last time. Hand over Pikachu. Otherwise, you're dead. Yamato's behavior was typical of Team Rocket members. As for the Jessie trio, in Yamato's eyes, their only purpose was to embarrass Team Rocket. Damn it. Don't even think about it. Even if you have to step over my dead body, I won't hand over Pikachu to you. Facing the powerful Yamato, Misty had almost no chance to fight back. However, even so, she didn't hesitate for a moment. Although Pikachu wasn't Misty's Pokémon, this little rascal was far beyond the concept of a Pokémon to her. This Yamato clearly had ill intentions, and Misty naturally wouldn't hand over Pikachu to this despicable guy out of fear. Since that's the case, then die. Rattata, use your killer fang and kill this little brat. As the most successful dispatch team in Team Rocket, killing was nothing special for Yamato. Pikachu, damn it, I only choked on some saliva. Does she think I don't exist? Before, To observe Yamato's strength and admire her figure, Mu Chen could remain indifferent. But now, seeing this bitch trying to kill Xiaoxia, Mu Chen immediately objected. Are you kidding me? Daring to hurt Xiaoxia? Did she ask me first? Xiaoxia was Mu Chen's Achilles heel. Anyone who dared to hurt her would be met with his wrath. Zzzzz. Without the slightest hesitation, Mu Chen leaped out of Xiaoxia's arms with a powerful kick. In mid-air, a thunderbolt shot out from Mu Chen's cheeks, its target being the onrushing Rata. Although Mu Chen's thunderbolt wasn't enhanced by charging, its power was still considerable. Giant Ma could be ignored, the legendary Zapdos could be ignored, but this Rattata was clearly not up to par. A painful cry rang out, and Rattata, pouncing in mid-air, suddenly began to break dance. Its attack abruptly halted. Unexpectedly, this Pikachu's fighting power is quite good. No wonder the boss specifically instructed me to do this. But so what? Blue King, go for it. Seeing Pikachu defeat Rattata with a single thunderbolt, Yamato was slightly surprised. She hadn't expected this yellow-skinned rat to be the biggest obstacle to her mission. But so what? Yamato was absolutely confident in defeating Pikachu. That's why she had come to Misty's place alone to capture Pikachu. And her companion, Kasaburo? That guy was currently cornering Ash in the bedroom. To ensure the mission's success, Yamato and Kasaburo initially planned to split up. One would capture Pikachu, while the other would steal the Pokeball containing Pikachu from Ash. Only in this way could they complete the mission without fail. Of course, Mu Chen was unaware of all this at the moment. Before him was only the stunning beauty, Yamato. Although this woman was breathtakingly beautiful, and although she had an amazing figure, the moment she tried to harm Misty, Mu Chen had already categorized her as an enemy. Mu Chen never knew the meaning of politeness towards enemies. Pikachu, Blue King? What the hell? HMPH, take this 100,000 volt attack after it's been fully charged. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.